Technical difficulties on Chris's end again.
Always my fault. Yep.
That's all right. And there's Destiny. She made it just in time.
Just in time.
Just in time.
Finally.
Okay, listen, I forgot he sent me the link way fucking earlier.
Yeah, he sent me the
9
link
a.m.
this afternoon too.
And so
I
I've been
was
sitting here for 10 minutes, like,
we're just waiting for a link.
literally
Okay.
just waiting. And I was like, oh my God. And
What? Okay,
it
let me.
started without me.
Yeah,
I'm
he's-
here. I watched y'all get on. I was like,
Wait.
yeah, I'm here.
I have no text from Destiny telling me that she's waiting.
Let's say I got my link at.
Well, I've been waiting
That would have
for
helped.
you to send me the link again.
Let's see it. I got mine at 12:04 my time is when I got mine. So
Yeah,
that was like,
Yeah, I mean, when I don't send them to Destiny, she texts me and says, "When are you sending me the link?" At like 9.
I've never done that before.
Yes, you have. You did it.
No, whenever I ask for the link, I mean like the YouTube link so I can post it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought-
so you sent me
I
the
thought you meant
StreamYard
this
link and I was just like, okay.
we're little people. We have to share our links still.
Yeah.
Like,
None
hey,
of us have
come
like
watch us.
12,000 subscribers.
Hey, I started this thing early this morning, and hopefully people saw it. I don't know. I don't promote shit. All right. So the Paranormal Activity franchise. First, I want to definitely go around the room here and talk about our involvement with this franchise, how many times we've seen it, how recently we watched the movies, Chris. and just kind of a general feel of how you feel about each entry, and maybe just like everyone start with the first one at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Destiny, did you?
Yeah.
Start with the first one? Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Some people. I mean, I guess technically you could watch it 3, 2, 1.
Yeah,
You could watch it
chronologically.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I still feel like I don't know of a franchise yet where I would recommend watching it out of release order.
Right.
Like, there's no prequel I think would service better watching it before the film off the top of my head. That is a very cute kitty that keeps meowing. On whose end is that?
Which one is it? It's Thorn.
It's coming towards me.
Oh, okay. I thought this was Kaylee's cat. This
No.
is that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There you
It's
go.
paranormal captivity.
Paranormal Captivity.
Yeah. There it is.
Ah!
Hey.
You take him. He's being so fucking loud. All right.
He wants in on it.
Yeah.
It's my moment to shine. Can't have it.
So let's start with Chris because he's the one who just
Did-
most
Something happened to your mic.
I was saying,
Okay, I
is
thought it was
that
my
just on my
headphones.
end? I was like, what's going on there?
Got really quiet, Jason.
Yeah.
Your audio just went like super low, man.
my audio
Yeah.
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your video still looks good, but your audio went like way down.
I was over here tapping my headphones.
No, I thought it was me. I was like,
I did too.
Fucking, it's Toby again.
Dang it, Toby.
Damn it.
This thing keeps fucking falling apart on me. Is it better at all?
I don't know. Try yelling. Try screaming. See if that helps.
I'd rather not scream. Is it bad still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Why do I always have the technical difficulties? So, okay, well, I can. The only thing I can do is this.
All right.
All
So,
right.
paranormal activity.
At least I'm not alone this time. This I can handle.
Oh, you love being by yourself. Come on.
Shut up. You don't.
So, this is
How's
awkward.
everyone's
Oh, man. Let's see. John
Well.
says, Jason, did you change your name to Toby? No, his name was always Toby.
Oh yeah, I can't see the chat.
I can't pull him
Yeah.
up like I
Yeah.
usually can. It's weird, but
Um,
so
Yep.
nice weather we're having over here today.
In
yeah.
Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty
been
nice
like-
here too.
It's been like 80 degrees last couple days.
oh my
Hmm.
God, it was hot today. It's fucking sweating.
Mm.
Yeah, it was really hot.
Where are you at, Destiny? Are you
Texas.
Texas? Okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
southeast. So I'm like,
Ah,
yeah, it's
That
fucking hot.
oughta fix it.
really, really hot.
Yeah.
That fix it?
It
Yes.
did.
Yeah, you're good now.
Woohoo!
It started doing. I'm fucking Toby.
That's what I said.
So, Chris, man, I'm getting frustrated. Go ahead.
All right, where do you want me to start? Just how I watched them?
Yes.
Like when I first started? Okay. So when the first one was coming out, I was kind of like, I was a naive little boy. I was like, well, first off, found footage isn't normally my cup of tea anyway, so I was already put off by that. And then I know Jason probably remembers this when the last couple Saw movies were coming out. There was that whole Saw versus Paranormal Activity little rivalry going on there. So I was like, oh no, they're the enemy. But I did watch. I did end up watching Paranormal Activity when it came out, and I liked the first one. And then I saw the second one when it came out, and I liked the second one. The third one, and I'll talk about this later, for whatever reason, just got blocked from my memory. I saw it, but I didn't remember anything from it, which is very interesting looking back on it now. But and so yeah, I saw 3 and I saw 4, but I kind of like erased them from memory. Never saw 5 or 6 until today. So yeah, I'm fairly new to the Paranormal Activity franchise.
So you saw Paranormal Activity 1 in theaters?
Yes. Yeah.
Did everybody see Paranormal Activity 1 in theaters?
I did.
You did. Okay.
No.
Destiny did not. Okay. Paranormal Activity 1 came out in 2009, so that'd be 12 years ago. So Destiny would have been pretty young then, huh? About 10?
Yeah, I was 10.
10 years
No
old.
one
Aw.
was really taking me to the movie theater.
Yeah.
Probably not the Paranormal Activity, especially. No, she's not ready for that.
Would your
Oh, I
parents
was ready.
let you go?
Oh.
Yeah. Would your
I
parents
was
let
ready.
you go?
My mom wasn't gonna go see that shit. We only saw like 2 horror movies my entire life together.
Mm.
Yeah, so
And what are those?
Annabelle and The Uninvited. Yeah.
So your mom only takes you to shitty horror movies?
Hey, I like The Uninvited. I like The Uninvited. So
Just kidding. So then, Destiny, you saw the first one first, as you said, but when was that?
I guess whenever we rented it. I can't really remember the first time watching it. I was alone. At my grandma's house. Yeah. But that's all I can remember watching it. So,
And then
I don't have much
and then the rest of the franchise, you saw. Did you see any in theaters?
No.
None.
I also wasn't like, I didn't like movie theaters. Because
Okay.
I'm always scared of getting shot everywhere I go. So
Right.
I stopped going to movie theaters. So my goal last year, though, was to start going, and then,
Of course, right? Everything
Then it-
happened, and
yeah.
yeah.
but, yeah. None.
Yeah, I got out of the midnight release of the Dark Knight Rises, and I got on IMDb or something. I'd been in the theater for a long time because I went and saw the triple feature, the Batman
Oh,
Begins,
wow.
Dark Knight, and then it bled into the Dark Knight Rises at midnight. And I was all excited. When I got out, I want to talk about it. And I go online to start talking about it, and people were wanting to talk about something else that happened that night. So
Mhm. Yeah.
I'll never forget that feeling of just like being really excited about talking about a movie, and it's like this end of a trilogy, and and you get online and it's like,
Oh,
you
that shit
I
happened.
don't even know if I ever really discussed that movie properly, just because of how fucking chaotic and tragic and awful and unimaginable that Aurora theater shooting was.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that was fucking wild.
Yeah, that was
so
a fun time.
I feel you. And Kaylee?
I saw the first one in theaters. I think I might have seen the second one in theaters too. And then I basically hadn't seen any of the other films until we watched them recently. So, like Chris, I'm pretty new to the rest of the movies.
So why do you think it is that you didn't see 3 and up in theaters?
I just didn't get the opportunity at the time. People I was with weren't wanting to watch horror movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, surprise, surprise, I saw all of them at midnight. No shocker there. I actually did see the Ghost Dimension in 3D. I went to it wanting not to see it in 3D because I'm not big into the gimmick, but
Right.
that was the only thing they were showing. What's funny about it is that Jen, the mother of my kids, she was at a Madonna concert, and I went across the street to the movie theater to see, and it was like when my kids were like really, really young, like under a year, I want to say, and we never got a time alone at that point. And I went into the theater, and their grandmother was watching them, and they were like, she's like, well, if I need anything, I'm going to call you. And I was like, okay. And I hadn't had a fucking break. I hadn't been to the theater in forever. And my phone started ringing like 45 minutes in, and I was just like, silence. Popped it back in my pocket. I got out, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh my God,
I didn't hear you. What's going on? I figured if it was really bad, she'd be texting me like, your kids are fucking, dying or something. So I was just like, you can handle it. It's not a movie. I will say the 3D, when the goo is in the air and the little that was fucking awesome. Like
Was
that
it?
stuff was like all like right, like I felt like it was like right in front of me.
Oh shit!
It was right there, and I was just like, "Oh, this is trippy." So when it would like, come at the screen, and it was mostly, the same thing happened when I saw another movie that I got free tickets to, was the Fright Night remake, and that was in 3D. And there was a scene where fire happens. I think someone burns up or something, and there's like embers that like fly off the fire, and they were like landing like right in front of me, and I was is the theater on fire? Really, really fucking unsettling because it just looked really, really real. But yeah, the Ghost Dimension was cool in 3D, but it was really only that liquid stuff. Everything else was completely pointless to be in 3D. I mean, found footage in 3D is
kind of a weird concept.
Yeah.
There's actually a movie called Found Footage 3D that was on Shudder, I want to say, or something. I watched it. It's okay, but yeah, I don't think it ever hit theaters. So I'm not really. You had to actually apply and like write into them to try to get glasses sent to you, but there was only so many, so like no one could get them. And I was like, well, this is a dumb concept.
Right.
Like nobody can watch your movie in 3D.
Unnecessarily hard.
Fuck is wrong with you? Have any of you guys seen movies in 3D much, or?
I've seen a few, but I'm not the biggest fan of the whole 3D thing.
Yeah.
It just gives me too much of a headache and all that. And plus, it's I don't like paying the extra couple bucks just to see something in 3D most of the time. So, but I have seen a few movies in 3D here and there. But.
Yeah, I usually get like motion sickness and kind of nauseous with 3D movies, so tend to avoid them.
Yeah, I'll throw up. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to one, Destiny?
No.
Avatar was really cool in 3D. But I find that the really heavily animated features do really well in 3D because the worlds are easily manipulatable. Manipulatable, is that a word? We'll go with it. So I guess when the franchise is really interesting because this movie was made by Oren Peli back in 2007, and he made this on like no money at all. Just got some friends together, shot this thing in his house, and it got some pretty decent buzz and at a little festival that it was at. And so he kind of shopped it around, and Paramount bought it, and they put about an additional $100,000, if I remember correctly, into the movie. Reshot the ending, tweaked some effects, just kind of brushed it up. So the whole like, oh, it only cost this amount of money is not accurate. Paramount did put a decent amount of money into it once they bought the rights to it, and then they re-released it in 2009, as we know it. And I remember when I saw the buzz for this in the festival circuits, and then they did a really cool internet campaign where they were making people vote on the movie coming to their city. And if they could get like 1 million votes in a certain amount of time, they would release it wide. And they gave it a pretty decent window of time. I can't really remember what it was. It was like a couple weeks or something. And I want to say it hit that 1 million mark in like an hour. Like wow. It was just like instant. People really wanted to see it. So the buzz was alive. And I went and saw this because they released it in a few theaters first. And then they released it wide. And I actually got to see it before it went wide. And that theater, man, that was a really good experience, because the Paranormal Activity franchise does something very well where they have very good sound design.
Yes.
And just these like long, and that like there's that it's see the film doesn't, none of the films have a soundtrack, but they do have this like ominous tone that plays right before something scary is going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's just this very like almost an audible tone that happens every time, and the audience kind of knows it's coming. It's like a swelling static in a way, and it's really clever, and they utilize it throughout the franchise. And I think the franchise stays very consistent in that atmospheric approach that they've used in the first one.
Seeing it in theaters too is really a cool experience, because like the whole audience reacts at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's really fun with horror movies, to get like the group energy reaction.
This was one of the movies that kind of started that trend of overselling films to an audience to the point where it was like nothing could ever live up to what they were saying, where they were saying like people were like checking themselves into the hospital.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because my stepmother is a nurse, and she said that someone came into her hospital having such a horrible panic attack from watching the movie that they couldn't fucking function, and they needed like assistance. They were just like, I'm freaking out, I can't fucking sleep again.
Wow.
So she was like way against the film. She was like, that shit's evil. She's very like that. So but it was pretty funny, because she was just like, I was trying to show my brothers it or something, and she came in, she's like, you don't fucking show them that, this and that. I was like, whoa, Toby's here. But yeah, the theater experience for one was fantastic.
Yeah.
The audience was very like in unison, like it was like we were all breathing as one. And like when the scenes happened, there was so many screams, and it just was a very uneasy tension, and I haven't really felt it since, except for in A Quiet Place, because of that, that
because you have to be quiet, and everybody makes a sound, you're like
shh.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. You can hear people breathing. That's how quiet this movie can get at times.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where you're afraid to dig into your candy or your popcorn because it's making too much noise. You're like,
And this is a franchise too that is kind of the epitome of less is more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's why Ghost Dimension is probably the least liked of the bunch, is because while the gimmick of seeing what's going on, seeing the paranormal activity is a cool novel concept, and I think that it might appeal to impatient people, it doesn't appeal to the fans of the franchise, because the fans of the franchise are into that less is more approach and that kind of like slow builds and long one takes of events that are like, is something going to happen? Is something not? I mean, and that's another thing with this franchise. There's like night 1, night 2, night 3, and then you'll be sitting there and you'll be watching and you'll be like, what's going on? You're like looking at every corner, every little thing. You're like, is that
you start thinking like, is this going to be a quiet night or is something going to happen tonight?
Yeah.
You never know.
Nights, nothing happens.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you're kind of like looking at the bookshelf and you're like, is there any fucking books? Oh, maybe I moved. I don't know.
Did that move a little bit? I saw something there. Did you see that?
You're like, shit, I shouldn't have took mushrooms before I came in here. Everything's moving.
Yeah, it does a great job at building the tension and really keeping you captivated.
Yeah. And I think the franchise as a whole does a very good job at that. And they had a pretty tough task with Paranormal Activity too, you know. But we'll get there because we'll start with the first one. I heard you guys saying that you don't remember names, but don't worry, I got you. I've seen these movies.
I remember names from like the first 2 or 3, but after that point, I kind of get confused a little bit. But
yeah,
I think I remember. I mean, I wrote down the main ones just in case, but I think I have them.
Okay. So let's start at the beginning of the franchise, not the beginning of the timeline.
Okay.
We'll start at number 1. So we all like this one, right? We all love this one. This is a good one. This is okay. I don't know if anybody has an issue with this one. That would be interesting. Like, I don't like the first one, but I like the rest. That would be. This is not a franchise where that would happen, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But in case anyone's ever wondering, because I see a question like this a lot, I'm going to pose definitely a bunch of questions, you know, plot holes and whatnot that I've seen. And
I have questions, lots of questions.
Good. I look forward to hearing them. But one question I see all the time is, what the fuck does Mika and Katie do to be able to live in this house and he never to be at work?
Doesn't she make a joke that he's like a day trader or something?
He is a day trader.
Yeah.
And she makes jewelry.
And she's like an English major, right? Going through school.
Yeah. But she also makes jewelry. So, but Mika is a day trader. When she asks him how much the camera costs, he's like, not as much as I made today. So he makes, I mean, he's a good day trader. He can make a fuck ton of money. So yeah. So that's explained in this franchise, but I feel like people do ask that. And then, in the next one, Daniel owns a Burger King. So I guess he's the king of burgers.
I guess so.
Yeah. I don't know.
Some money off that.
I don't know. He says he only owns one.
I thought, is it only one, or is he just like, I don't own all of them?
Oh, maybe that's
Mika's like, I went into Burger King.
Yeah. There's that line. It's like, I went in there, and he's like, well, I don't own all of them. Or something like that.
He probably owns several of them.
He owns a few, okay.
Right.
He could have his own like franchise.
I say at least a couple he owns, I think. Yeah.
Okay, that would make sense then. And so Mika, it's hard to keep it straight because I'm trying to focus on like the story in one without getting into the story that we learn later on, but that's fucking pretty much near impossible.
Almost,
yeah. So what are your guys' thoughts on Mika?
I don't mind him. Like, he's just a fun guy. It looks like maybe he's kind of a little bit of a prick in certain moments of the movie. Like for instance, when Katie's telling him, okay, don't do this. You can do this shit with your camera, but just I'm asking you, don't do this. And he goes and does it anyway. That's a little bit of a dick move, but aside from like moments like that, I like him. He's a fun character.
Yeah.
I have kind of mixed feelings about him. Like, I think he cares about her, but at the
Yeah.
same time, he mocks her. He sort of
Yeah.
mocks the whole situation, and
Mhm.
he kind of seems like he's only really trying to record to capture evidence. I don't know, to get famous or to make some kind of, I don't know if it would be a profit, but not really necessarily to help.
Right.
Is what I feel.
Yeah, he pretty much gets to the point where he just doesn't care how she's feeling at that moment.
Yeah.
He just wants to get the footage.
Yeah, I mean, she's caught towards the end or middle to end. She's just like, get it out of my face, get the camera out of my face, and he just doesn't. Which obviously there wouldn't be a movie if he did, but
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he cares about her, but he's kind of an asshole at times. So.
I mean, he only tries to film her while they're fucking without her permission.
Oh, no, it's off. I swear.
It's totally off. That's just the what does he say? The light. He's like, that's the
standby light.
The standby light.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, maybe as the situation gets more stressful, that could also be bringing out the assholishness in him. Because in the beginning, he's a lot sweeter to her. You know, they're both a lot happier, and then things just keep getting worse and worse. So
that negative energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I definitely don't think Mika's a bad guy. I think that he's definitely, arrogant, and he's kind of a typical guy in a lot of ways. He doesn't take this seriously at first. He does kind of throw something back at Katie that I think is a fairly good point about, like, you could have told me this shit before we moved in together. It's like, this is my, you've brought this on me. But we come to find out that from the psychic and from other parts of this franchise that paying attention to this thing is what eggs it on. So it is Mika's fault in a sense. But then if you count in Paranormal Activity 2 and the fact that Daniel passes it on to Mika and Katie, it was happening anyways, but it definitely gains more power the more attention that you pay to it.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty concurrent throughout the franchise.
I was going to say, that's pretty consistent through all of them.
Yes. And the way that the sixth one explains it is because they already prepped the house for Toby before they got there. In fact, like when they're walking them through, when they find that footage of them looking at the house before they even lived there, he's like, oh, this is a good entry point. And this is
the perfect spot. Yeah.
Yeah. So they already kind of have that plan. But in every other one, it's very much like the more you pay attention to this thing, the stronger it gets for sure. And Destiny, what do you think about Mika?
I have mixed feelings about him, I guess. Part of me thinks like they are a good couple in a way, because like it feels like they do care about each other and there's chemistry there between them. But also Mika is a dick and he doesn't listen and goes behind her back and fucking tells her to go up there with her friend when she's already pissed off. Like, that's such a low blow. And he does that a lot in the movie. And like gaslights her and almost makes her seem like she's crazy. And but also like I agree, like probably the stress is what's bringing out more, because I couldn't imagine that. Like, you can't even be home without feeling scared, and he is scared, especially when the priest comes back and he's like, I can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are we supposed to do? So like I think he believes, but he is skeptical, and he's doing it mainly for himself, not so much to help out Katie.
Yeah.
But I think at some point it does start to feel more real to him.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely obsessive. And I think he's one of those people that's like, once we start, I'm not going to stop now that shit's happening. Now, the question is always going to be, in any found footage film, this is the fucking like quintessential question that every found footage film has to deal with every goddamn time. Why would they continue to keep filming? There are definitely movies that have been able to get around that. I feel like any laptop horror movie doesn't have to deal with that question because they're not filming. We're seeing it through their laptops. So like Host or Unfriended or The Den or any of those movies. They don't really have to deal with that issue. And then Paranormal Activity 2 does a great job of this because there's security cameras. Now, security cameras typically don't record in real time and with audio. But whatever.
I can let that slide. Yeah,
I don't care about that stuff. Right. But all the rest of the films, yes, they have that problem. But that's got to be one of those questions you just have to avoid. It's just it's a necessity for most found footage films, unless it's like the movie Mockingbird, where like 20 minutes in, the people, they get the cameras and they think they're a prize, and then they get a note that says, keep filming or you die. So it's like they literally have to continue to keep filming or the killers will kill them.
Right.
So that gives you a good reason of why they would never stop recording. And that's why I liked the premise of that film so much, was because they explained that so easily. And I think part 2 does the best job of that question because of not only the security cameras, but then when Daniel has to go down into the basement looking for Hunter and Christy, he has to use the handheld camera for the night vision because he can't fucking see otherwise.
Right.
Why he would hit record, who cares?
Right. It doesn't matter at this point.
It doesn't matter. I mean, maybe he wants to show it to the courts to get fucking insurance money for why his house is all fucked up.
Maybe.
Who knows? I don't think he'd be thinking that in that moment, but whatever.
No.
No, that wouldn't have been my first thought. That type of moment.
No.
I gotta record this shit.
Need evidence.
Yes. But that is what it is on that one. And I ask about Mika because he seems to kind of be the punching bag of the franchise for a lot of people.
I've noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, they really hate him, and I think that's unfair because there's a difference between not liking a character, like and hating an actor's performance.
Yeah.
And what they've done with the film, and you're like, oh, I can't stand this guy. To me, Mika's a very believable kind of shithead.
He's flawed, a normal human being. Right.
These people exist. I don't think he's a horrible person. I just think that he does not take this as seriously as he should, and he doesn't take it as seriously as he should, as slow as he does.
Right. Like, he doesn't really think things out before he does things a lot of the time.
Yeah.
The franchise
go ahead.
It does a great job with believable characters. Was just what I was going to say. Like, I feel like every movie, all of them are just very relatable. Or not all of them are relatable, but they just feel like real people.
Yeah.
Yes. There's I would argue that I'm trying to think. Can you guys think of a character in this franchise that isn't believable? That like feels like he's acting or she's acting or it feels forced. I
mean, not really, no.
Not really. Not for me. So they do a great job of casting, and I mean, making a film like this, making a found footage film like this, where I'm very curious on the behind the scenes stuff where like how much of the camera is actually given to the actor. Do they have to kind of learn their, where they have to hit their marks and where they have to film? Because they'll look at themselves in the mirror at times too.
Yeah.
And you'll see that it's them filming. And you're like, okay, so the actor's actually filming what I'm seeing here. They're the cameraman of this fucking movie, which is very abnormal. That does not happen in any other kind of film. So there's a bit of element of that as well. It's like you've got to be the cameraman for what everyone's going to be seeing on the big screen. And they see in the fucking mirror. Now this might be digitally altered to take away the rig that they're using. I don't know, and maybe they're not. Maybe when they see themselves in the mirror, that's been digitally added, and that's not really how it's being seen. That's definitely possible as well. I'm curious. I don't think, of course, with the first one, that's the case. In the first one, this was as low budget as you can fucking get. Yeah. And these guys did an amazing job, because what this movie does so well it's kind of the opposite of, or almost a companion idea to the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. It's like you can't get away from sleeping, right? And what happens to you in your dreams? And then this movie kind of flips it, and it's like, what happens to you while you sleep? Like on the outside of your body when you're completely defenseless. Because that's when you're the most defenseless. You're fucking just sitting there asleep and shit's going on around your house. I mean, would you film yourself sleeping after this movie? Would you set up a camera and want to know what's happening? Supposedly we eat like 2 spiders every year or something.
Yeah, I think my tapes would be pretty boring. I don't think much is going on when I'm sleeping, but who knows?
There's like apps that you can use to record yourself if you talk in your sleep. And sometimes people will use those and hear really weird shit. Probably just them in their sleep, but I don't know about recording myself. I think that probably not.
Yeah, supposedly I talk in my sleep. Of course I can give no evidence to this myself, but I have been told that I do talk in my sleep. So
secrets.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's scary. What do you say? And then you just got to wake up and be like, no, that's not true. I just said that in my sleep. But yeah, that's definitely a terrifying concept. The whole concept of like filming yourself while you're sleeping, and that now iconic shot of Katie and Mika in their bed in that blue light.
Yeah,
so creepy.
Yeah, and they use it on the poster. I mean, they used it in every poster. That same look of the people in the blue light camera, because Saw kind of has that green filter to it, right?
Yep.
And then Paranormal Activity has the blue filter,
blue grainy filter. Yep.
So they kind of have their own identities through their color palette choice, which is kind of unique and interesting as well. Now, let me see. What else do I got about this franchise or this movie? I actually wanted to ask you guys. Of course, ladies, you can pick anybody, male or female. I don't know what you're into. Actually, I do, but I think there's some pretty attractive looking people in this franchise, and I'm curious on who's everybody's like hottest character in the franchise. Who's the dude or the chick that does it for you in this one? Dennis is the best.
Dennis, I was gonna say Julie from Paranormal Activity 3. I'm pretty attracted to her.
A hot couple.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
they are.
It's not that bad either.
Let's say I like
and
Katie.
Katie's hot too.
Oh yeah.
Katie's really pretty.
Yeah.
She's got great tits.
Agreed. Yeah,
that's true.
Definitely.
That's true. Yep.
Especially in that white tank top.
Yeah.
I think everybody
shorts. Yeah.
I think everybody except for Martine and what the fuck is her name? I'm blanking on it right now. The witch downstairs in the marked ones.
Oh,
you just watched it today.
It starts with an A. I can't remember what it is.
It's Anna, isn't it?
Anna.
Anna. Anna. Oh my god.
You know that she doesn't do that for you?
Oh, yeah,
no, she doesn't. I had the same the reaction Hector did when he sees her.
Oh man, no! You can come look now.
The greatest day of my life.
Not anymore. Yeah.
I really like Ben, even though he's like a high schooler. But I like his personality a lot, and I actually like Jesse too.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jesse's really cute.
Jesse's pretty cute.
Yeah.
So you pick like the 2 18-year-olds?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. You realize I'm 39 years old, right?
What? No.
Thought I was 18. That's tough. I really do. I think that like pretty much every chick in the franchise is pretty damn good looking. And most of the guys as well. Daniel, not so much. But yeah, for guys, for sure, for me, it's definitely Dennis. Dennis is the best.
Yeah, Dennis is great.
Just the fucking best.
Yeah. I love Dennis. Dennis and Hector are my two favorite characters for
I
sure.
did like Hector a lot too. Yeah.
They both just make me laugh. I like Randy a lot as well.
Yeah, Randy
I
was
think
good
he's
too.
funny. Can't we just play Dollhouse?
Yeah.
Randy's great. I guess if I had to pick someone, that's a tough one. I wrote that down, but then I didn't think of what my answer would be. Martine. No. Probably Julie. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Julie's definitely very pretty. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's see. Anybody in the here we go. Let's see. We got Katie here. Katie's very pretty.
Yeah.
We've got Mom in part 3, mine
Yep.
here.
Love Julie.
And anybody else? Nobody else answered that one. So no one else is horny like I am, I guess. So now another thing that happens in this franchise is basically once someone gets bitten, they have become marked and they are possessed by the Tobes himself.
Tobes.
And now, that being said, so Katie becomes possessed after she's bitten, and she's basically not herself. Once she shows the bite mark, she wants to leave. Mika's agreed to it. They're going to leave. And then he comes. He's like, all right, let's go. You know, he's got the shit packed. He's ready to rock and roll. And she's like, no. And then she's like, you know, it's going to be fine now. And her voice distorts because she's, you know, demonic at that point. But that being said, what is happening with Katie throughout this film before she's marked? Why is she standing next to the bed for hours on end? Why is she out on the fucking swing outside? She can't remember it the next day. Like, what is that?
Childhood trauma.
I was gonna think like maybe some bad memories started coming back a little bit. That's what I was assuming.
So you think that you see what I think would have been cool is it would have been in part 3 had we seen Katie sleepwalking.
Yeah. That would have tied it together better.
Kind of setting up that she is a sleepwalker. You know, that's just something she does when she's stressed out. Like once Toby kind of starts presenting herself and she starts, you know, maybe after the Bloody Mary thing and she starts getting scared, then she starts sleepwalking around the house. That would have tied really well into this film because that's just one you kind of got to fill in for yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And then, yeah. And I mean, we get the introduction to the psychic who comes in and he talks to her about her past. And there's definitely some inconsistencies.
Yeah.
To her discussion of her past. And then when she talks to Christy, this is actually where some of the biggest, you know, plot holes in the film comes is in her talk with Christy in the second film, where she says like, what do you remember? And she's like, I remember you were scared and you stopped talking. I remember mom was scared all the time. I remember this and that. And she's like, you're going to end up just like mom. You know, this and that. Now in part, what is it? 4, I think or maybe even 5, we find out that Lois has taken. Well, actually, I think it's in 6. Yeah, it's in 6. They kind of tie this up a little bit because the kids are told that Lois is their mom, and their memories of Julie and Dennis are basically wiped clean. But that doesn't really explain why they're talking about their mom acting scared all the time and this and that if they remember her as Lois because Lois is so involved. The only thing I got for that is that and this also kind of doesn't make any sense, why they would prophesize that Christy was going to give birth to Hunter, to the son, and then wipe their memories clean and then send them out into the world without knowing anything. And then maybe even planting in false memories of their childhood, but making them kind of similar. maybe so they'd stick better. I mean, I'm stretching here. I don't really have a reason. You guys got anything on that one?
Yeah, that is one of my biggest gripes with this franchise is some of that stuff that you're talking about. Yeah, I pretty much got nothing on that.
Nobody.
No.
Nope.
It's one of those things that they could potentially in another movie kind of try and fill in those blanks. So maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems that there's a lot. Like it feels like there is a whole other story that we haven't seen yet. That's what it feels like to me.
So in the first movie, what is it? The 1960s, right? The girl that
yes,
that is apparently just like Katie. Yeah, I think that would be a really cool place to start for.
That's hilarious because I was going to ask what everyone's desired film would be in part 7, and mine was the exploration of that girl in the 60s.
That would be a great one to go with. Yeah.
It would. I think it would be really cool. Now, I don't know if this would work or not, but it'd be interesting. I don't know. I'd have to think more on it, but I was thinking that either that chick gets involved with Lois or that chick ends up being Lois.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Yeah.
But why would Katie not recognize her mother when she looked at the video? That is a little iffy on that. And also, we know that Lois is the one who asked Toby for riches. And for payment of that, they have to give up the firstborn male in their family. But then they already know because of this leader guy. Now, I'm trying not to jump ahead. Let's get to number 2 because we all know how part 1 ends, which if you guys don't know, I'm sure you probably do at this point. Actually, this is a good question, Scotty. So I can tell you, watch the movie The Devil's Doorway. It's a fantastic found footage film. It takes place in a nunnery, and it is priests that come to investigate a potential miracle, and the guy's there to kind of debunk it. He's like, this is bullshit. It's not, it isn't real. And they shoot it on like Super 8 or whatever. And the whole film is done like that. Really, really good movie. It's pretty short. It's only like 70 minutes or whatnot, but it's a very effective. If you like a movie, The Borderlands, I would definitely recommend the shit out of that one. And that one is set in the 60s. So that's how. Go watch that movie and you'll find out. But the original ending to Paranormal Activity, for anyone who doesn't know, if you guys do or anyone listening in the comments, is instead of Katie throwing Mika into the camera and then coming and eating the camera, she actually stands in front of the camera and she slits her own throat with a butcher knife. Of course, and ending the franchise in a much different way. They reshot it, I'm sure, with potential franchisability in mind. They don't want to kill off their killer too soon, like the Saw franchise. They want to retain her for multiple films. And it's interesting how, sparingly Katie's used in this franchise. Very, very little.
Yeah, so she's kind of just sprinkled in here and there throughout, like little bits and pieces.
Yeah, I mean, in part 2, she's in it for maybe 5 minutes total. In part 3, she's in it for 30 seconds.
Yep.
And in part 4, she's in it for a minute. And then part 5, nowhere to be found. And part 6, nowhere to be found, even though she is mentioned to be the real estate agent that sold them the house. I think it would have been very cool to show her in some capacity in the 6th one, but who knows? Maybe Katie Featherston was done with the franchise by that point.
Maybe it was just like a scheduling issue or something with that. I don't know.
But I will pretty much bet my bottom dollar that she will be in part 7.
I think so too. Yeah.
Because they're rebooting the franchise, and you know how they do those reboots. They got to bring back the original people to get people's asses back in their seats. So I definitely think we will be seeing her.
Yeah, she was in part 5 in the March ones at the end.
Oh yeah, she was for like a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, when He time
Oh,
travels.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
Right. That's actually, okay. Yeah, that's actually, it's funny.
Which
That's
I
my
love
favorite.
that scene.
Yeah, it's my favorite fucking
Mhm.
thing. My
Yeah,
favorite
yeah.
ending of the franchise.
Dude, that
Oh,
ending,
yeah.
I was like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I was
Fantastic.
jacked seeing that ending, but
Yeah, the ending is phenomenal.
mhm.
Yeah. Somehow completely slipped my mind. Once we got there, though, I'd definitely be talking about it, and I probably would have corrected the fuck out of myself. Like, oh yeah,
Silly me.
yeah. And so yeah, we can move on to part 2, I guess. But was I saying something about Katie? I don't know what I was saying. Oh, the original ending. She slit
We were
her own
talking about the
throat.
ending, yeah.
So that's just, that would have been the end of the franchise right there. But of course, they reshot it, and Katie then, we know, goes off to Daniel and Christy Ray's house and murders them both.
Mhm.
She must have hit Christy pretty fucking hard in the chest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, what does she do there? She just collapses her chest.
Maybe.
Stops her heart.
Yeah.
So here's
The
a question.
force.
Here's a question. I was thinking about this earlier. This is the first time I'd ever thought about this, but in part 3, Christy is made up as a bride to be married to Toby. Now, the coven of witches in this franchise are referred to as the midwives.
Mhm.
This makes me wonder if all the women in the cult are married to Toby, kind of like nuns are married to Jesus or whatever.
Oh.
It just, what made me think of that is that Katie becomes possessed by Toby. Toby comes in and kills Christy because he's, possessing Katie's body at that point. Which is interesting because, that actually made me think of a completely different question. I'll get to that in a second, though. The question being that Toby effectively murdered his own wife in that scene, if she did end up marrying him. But I'm wondering if he has multiple wives and that he's marrying like 6-year-olds.
They're all expendable.
Yeah, they're all expendable.
I got more. It's fine. This one's fine.
Yeah.
I got options.
Because he did try to, and he even possessed his own. So he was his own wife at one point in the franchise. He possessed her. So I guess that happens as well. But the question that kind of spawned off into was, what happens once you're possessed by him and then he effectively leaves your body? Katie is still evil. The evil step aunt. She's still evil in part 4. She's still very much part of the coven, but Toby isn't possessing her anymore. So did she become, like, once he leaves your body, like, you're part of the cult now? Did she get, like, inducted in? Did she, like, maybe I get, okay, maybe I can answer this. You guys go ahead. I think I have an answer, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts, maybe.
I thought the cult's whole thing was that they brainwash the girls, and
That's
they were
what- yeah.
brainwashed. So I don't think it really matters if Toby's in her or not. I think she's
Mhm.
just conditioned already.
Like you
But
said, she
Katie-
was inducted.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where I was going with it. Once Toby gets in them, they revert back to where they were before their memories were wiped, and they're part of the cult.
Yeah.
That's what I got. Yeah.
That's what I would think.
I think that works. I think that's the only logical explanation because of part 4. Katie is clearly not a bad person, nor is Christy, nor is anyone really before they are possessed by Toby and he uses them. But it is Katie that remains evil. Now, Jesse, we never see Toby leave him once he's in him, but I don't okay. The Oscar. Okay, we're jumping ahead. Fuck. I'm trying not to jump ahead. I'm really trying not to, but this is tough. So Hunter is the firstborn male. He's brought home, and then very shortly thereafter, the cult breaks into their house and steals the tapes. For what reason? I don't know. Because it's proof. I don't know why And why is everything rummaged through and turned upside down? At first, I thought it was Toby that screwed the house up. But then in the beginning of 3, it shows that the only thing that is missing is the tapes. Mm-hmm. And they also say in part 2 that Katie's necklace that she made for Christy is missing as well. Now, does that necklace appear anywhere else in the film or in the franchise?
I'm trying to think.
I don't remember it.
Not that I can remember.
At least it not being like a major part of anything else.
Right. If it pops up for like 1 split second or something, maybe. But yeah.
But yeah, that's an interesting thing to mention.
Yeah.
Because who would have been in the cult that came in and rummaged their house that would have stolen that? And why? They took the tapes and they took that necklace. Why that necklace?
No idea.
Yeah, no.
I got nothing.
The tapes just maybe so that they wouldn't watch them. I mean, if they put them on, we're like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
but that's kind of stupid because Katie inherits the tape from Lois's death. Yeah. And then she just stores them at her house. And then they come and steal those tapes. And it doesn't really seem to be for any reason. And then they take those very same tapes and they give them to Ryan and his family.
Yeah.
For what reason?
I feel like just the house just getting broken into in general was just a little plot point so that they can get the security system. I feel like,
of course.
I feel like getting the tapes and the necklace. I think that was just something that they wanted to maybe build on a little bit more later on, and they just didn't really do that yet. But that's what I kind of gathered from that.
I really wish the tapes would have made an appearance in Paranormal Activity 2. Mm-hmm. I wish she would have brought them over. But I think what was really cool about Paranormal Activity 2 was and I've said this before, but the trailers for all the Paranormal Activity films featured no footage from the actual films.
No, it just showed the people in the audience going, "Oh, yeah."
Well, no. They actually shot fake footage with the actors in the film that were kind of like the scenes in this.
That's right.
But then were totally different scenes, and they included those in the trailers. And then when you went to the movies, you were like, "Oh, I can't wait to see how that plays out and what that happens and what that means." Yeah. And there was even in part 3,
exactly.
when Julie is talking to Christy and she's painting.
Yes.
She's like, he's right there next to you, and he's like, I don't see him. She's like, he's right there. And then something gets knocked over and she screams, and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for this scene. And then it just hard cuts, and I was like, wait, what the? And then Julie's not a believer, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Where's that scene?
Oh my god, I had the exact same reaction. And I guess I was so younger, so I didn't really know movies did that. So I literally thought I was crazy. I was like, I didn't imagine this scene.
I know I saw the scene somewhere. Yeah.
Yes. And I was missing that scene because I thought that was a really effective scene. I really liked it. So when it wasn't used, I was like, wait, what the fuck is happening? I was so upset. But yeah, it makes me feel better knowing it was real.
What's really funny here is that I have one of those screw-on mic stands that goes onto the table. Under this table, there is a refrigerator, and there's no way to manipulate or move the fucking refrigerator in a way that I can get into it right now because this is blocking the door from opening, and my drink's in here, and I'm super thirsty, and I just keep looking at this and I can't take it off because it might disconnect my mic, and I'm just like, oh, and it's right there. I want it so bad. Just give it to me. Fuck. Anyway. But yeah, so has anyone here watched any of the extended footage? There's a lot of extended footage. Part 4 has 30 extra minutes of footage.
So when I was watching all these, I watched all the extended versions, but I don't know I don't remember the differences of what any of them are. So I don't know what's different from both cuts, but
it's not that kind of table. I can't lift it up. It's it's secured. There's no getting it up. I can usually get it up anytime I want, but in this case, I cannot. But yeah, so okay. I don't know where the fuck I'm at with it. I was talking about footage and whatever. Let's see. Paranormal. Paranormal Activity 2 was interesting because I, when we went to the theater, we did not know what the fuck this movie was going to be about. Like, is this going to have anything to do with Katie and Mika? Or is this going to be its own thing? And so, like, the movie starts and we see it's fucking the Ray family and they bring home Hunter and all this stuff and you're like, okay, I guess this is its own thing. I don't know.
It's like the first one with new people. Like that's
right. And then Katie shows up at the door.
And you're like, and she's normal too. When we see
and you're like,
normal.
okay. And this is another really clever thing because you're like, because they do create that doubt of she's like, oh, why isn't Mika here? And she's like, oh, he wasn't feeling well. And you're like, because he's fucking dead.
Right. Because you would think that, oh, this is after the first one. Then you're like, oh, is it though?
And then Mika shows up and you're like, oh, and then there's that text on the screen that's like X amount of days before Mika slows death. And it's actually really ominous.
I love the way that was revealed.
Yeah.
I thought that was really clever.
Because it just shows him and it shows, God, I don't know. Like, I was thinking about myself and thinking about like someone watching the footage of me before I died and having that come up and like I'm all happy and I'm all like this and that, like this Jason died 5 seconds after.
I walked into a Burger King the other day. Yeah,
he's so happy and they're having such a good time and it's just I don't know. There's something about it. It's like it kind of reminds me of how short life can be and you never know what's going to happen to you. I mean. He's singing and he's a young dude and his life is ahead of him and within a month he's dead. It's fucking sad.
Yeah, it's great.
Killed by a demon.
Sweat.
Yeah. Woo.
Happens once.
But yeah. So what? Okay. What about Daniel though? If you don't like Mika, how do you like Daniel? Because Daniel's very dismissive.
Yeah.
Very like, sarcastic and belittling and
he sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, he fires their maid, their nanny, because she's burning
I like
sage.
her.
She was so nice and she cared. And
she does the handsy touchy dance.
Exactly.
Yes, it's so cute.
It's so cute.
What bad things are happening? See.
Yeah.
I love
Out
it.
with the paella. Martine's adorable. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think Daniel overreacts heavily to her burning sage.
Super overreacts.
That being said, Daniel does have a lot of really funny lines in the movie for me, for sure. When Christy talks to him about, the pool cleaner getting out of the pool by itself and he laughs and he's like, what, it's taking the car? That shit kills me. I think that's fucking funny. I think there's a lot of lines he says in this movie that actually make me laugh out loud. There's some cool additional scenes in this. For the unrated cut, I don't know if Destiny's watching the unrated cuts when she watches them, because I know Chris and Kaylee did, but are you watching the unrated cuts or are you watching the theatricals?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you.
She looked like a fucking deer in headlights.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know the answer to this question.
Well, to be fair, I didn't rewatch any of these before this.
Yeah.
I've seen them a lot growing up, but I couldn't tell you.
Okay, so in part 2, do you see a scene where Allie and her boyfriend are out in the jacuzzi and Daniel, like a pan catches on fire and he throws it out of the pool and then he burns his balls and comes in and puts peas on his balls?
I think you're lying to me now.
No, that happens.
That happens. Yeah. He jumps into the hot tub and the hot tub is like so hot. He runs back in jumps back in the pool, then runs back in the house and puts peas on his balls because they're burnt.
Yeah.
Yeah, those the extended scenes are really good. I highly recommend all of them.
I know.
She's like, you gotta be fucking with me.
When
no?
I was asking Destiny if she'd seen the unrated cuts, I fucking was 100% positive her screen had froze.
Shut up. Stop drawing more attention to it. I was thinking. That's my thinking face. I'm sorry.
I like that. Is that in Host where they can't tell if the person's frozen or not?
Yeah.
No, it's in
sitting there.
Unfriended.
Oh, that's right.
She's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And then the phone starts vibrating across the
it's
table.
moving.
Oh, I
then-
fucking love Unfriended.
Me too. I love
I
it.
love that
I love
movie
it.
so much.
Second one, not so much, but you know, the
Not
first
so
one,
much. But the first one is excellent.
Yeah.
Kaylee, have you seen Unfriended?
I haven't.
Oh, we're watching it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That one's a good one. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great. It's honestly
Actually, it
one of
kinda
the
scared me.
yeah. It's very very effective, very clever,
Mhm.
and very very eerie throughout the whole film.
Mm,
I love the way that one's done, and the acting in that is excellent as well.
Yep.
cool.
So now it seems that there's definitely some numerical similarities throughout this, with the kids being 6, Hunter, and of course later Leela,
Mhm.
and then the 666 with Jesse and Oscar. But what's weird about it is that Leela is actually 8.
Mhm.
But she is drawing stuff like she's been seeing it for a while. I'm just curious on, like, maybe Toby started to come around at 6 and
Mm.
they weren't getting the attention that they thought they were going to get. So then they had to kind of stage a house and make them.
Okay.
But, like, I don't know. That seems pretty convenient that they would be looking for a home in the next 2 years,
Mhm.
you know? But maybe, who knows? I don't know. I do like that, because there's another thing in this, because since we're on part 2, we can talk about the conversation that Christy and Katie have, and they talk about how their house burnt down.
Mhm.
They talk
Yeah.
about that in the first one as well. Their house burnt down when they were kids. Now, I was expecting in part 3
Yep.
for the house to burn down
Yep.
in that. But it is, I think, confirmed that the house burnt down in 94. And the tapes that they find, that Ryan and his brother Mike find, they find the tapes from 94.
Mhm.
And now Christy does not look 6 years old or 12 years old in that, because she would be 6 in the first Paranormal Activity, because that's when he starts coming for Christy. When she's 6, there's another
Right.
6-year-old. And then those are in 88, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other tapes are 94 that he's watching of them. So they're 9. Yeah, that would be 6 years later.
Yeah,
so she'd be 12.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't look 12. She looks maybe 9.
Yeah.
Maybe she traveled through the time door.
Could be
3 years up. Why not?
So there
Why
you go.
not?
Why not? But now, here's an interesting fact about part 3, and this happens also in part 2, because there's a cut scene that, if you look on the DVD or Blu-ray, if you're fucking, cool, there's a scene where Hunter was crawling around on the street outside in the front of their house, because there's a camera that we only see, I think, like once in the entire film, that was kind of heavily featured in the trailer, and that's the camera on the front door step.
Yeah.
They show that when Martine's being fired and let go, they go to that camera, but I feel like we don't really see that camera again.
I don't think so.
In the entire thing. And there is a scene where they're looking for Hunter. They can't find him anywhere. And they think he's in the pool drowning. So Christy jumps into the pool to get him. And it's like a doll at the bottom of the pool. And then they go out and Hunter's crawling around on the pavement outside. Now, at the end of part 2, there's a very fast, like one frame, Fight Club cock kind of thing. You guys have any idea what I'm talking about? The Fight Club cock? Fight Club? Anybody seen Fight Club here?
Fight Club,
No.
but
Chris, you've never seen Fight Club?
I've seen parts of it.
You've never seen Fight Club?
Not in its entirety.
Send me your penis. Send me your penis in the mail. You don't deserve it. Has anybody seen Fight Club here?
I've seen Fight Club, but what Fight Club cock?
When Tyler Durden's fucking inserting like a frame of a cock into like Cinderella at the movie theater.
Oh.
Anyway, at the very end of this movie, there's a literal frame of the movie, and if you can fucking pause it, it's Hunter crawling around on the street out in the fucking front of the house. And at the end of part 3, they do it again, and there's a quick one frame, blink and you miss it, and it is the bed, Julie and Dennis's bed catching fire. Very, very fast. And in the trailer for part 3, there's a news report for the fire of their house burning down. Like the house is on fire in the trailer for part 3. So this franchise is very bizarre. What they film and what they decide to show and when they decide to show it. It's like, why show that when then they later say that the house burned down in 94? I got nothing. Because the reason I thought they were going to go to their grandmother's house is their house.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, man.
But no, I don't know. That's all very confusing to me. But I still love it. Oh, is this falling? Oh, good. I can get my drink. Hopefully it doesn't disconnect me though. That'll be fucking annoying. But so actually what I'd like to do really quick is I'd like to ask you guys, maybe we could save this for the end. I'll leave it up to you guys, but I was going to have you guys kind of rank the franchise or at least start thinking about it.
Okay.
If you don't already know which way you're going to rank them, I'd be curious on what everyone's ranking of this franchise is going to be. What's your favorite? What's your least favorite? So on. You know how rankings work, right? I don't need to explain them to you.
What's a ranking?
Yeah. So do I put the least favorite one first? Fuck. Let's see. So the trailers have more going on than the movie? No.
I mean,
no. There's definitely things.
Yeah, different things, yeah.
But things still happen.
Let's see. There's also a scene of a priest having his head bounced off of a table. Yes, 100%. I remember that as well. There's a priest that comes to their house that is not featured in the film at all. And he's like talking something and his head just starts bouncing off the table.
I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah, so this franchise is very bizarre with their trailers. I've always been kind of confused about this. Okay. So then Allie sees what happens. She alerts her dad. He can't deny it anymore. And then he has to enlist the help of Martine, who he's fired. She should have been like, adios, muchacho. But he decided to come back and help out. Of course, this is always one of those movie conveniences, right? Where it's like, she knows exactly how to do everything. She knows exactly how to handle this demon and everything. What are your guys' thoughts on the name Toby? And what is that exactly? What's that name? Is that because do they actually look at the demon that he is in this movie, in this franchise? You just watched them, Chris. Did they actually give an actual name, like a demon name? Is it like
I don't remember what movie it was in, and it was either Marked Ones or Ghost Dimension. It was one of like the last couple ones. They said something like it was one of the priests in the house. I think it's Ghost Dimension is when he says he could come he could come in the form of many names, and Toby just happens to be the name that he's particularly chosen. But I don't think they've ever said what his real demonic name was.
Toby is like one of the wimpiest ass demon names.
And you know what? There's one in The Conjuring as well named Toby. So I was like, okay,
Bro.
I guess it's just a common demon name now.
Yeah.
Toby.
I think this is my guess. I think the reason it refers to it itself as Toby is because it's a very non-threatening name to children.
Yeah,
Sure.
I
Yep.
was thinking that too.
Yeah.
So imaginary friend.
Because like
I don't think a 6-year-old's gonna want to be friends with somebody named Bathsheba. You know what I mean? Like Toby's more fitting for that. Yeah.
Because in part 2, which we're still on, Hunter looks straight at Toby. He's seeing Toby in the room. He's like, he's given the Destiny look. He's like,
yeah. That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, he's
Oh
got
my
that stare going.
Whatever.
she's out of here.
It's that stare.
I do like Captain Howdy. There we go. Toby versus Captain Howdy. I love Captain Howdy. That's a great name. That one I think is more like appealing to children. Although Reagan is like, Reagan's what, 12?
Yeah, 12, 13,
Yeah.
I think, something like that.
So it's my friend, Captain Howdy, which is also the name of the killer in Strangeland, D. Snyder's Strangeland. Who here's seen that?
Nope.
Nobody. Come on. D. Snyder, do you even at least know who that is?
Yeah, it's Twisted Sister.
All right.
House of Hair. Yeah.
Twisted
I know
Sister
D.
on your
Snyder.
uniform.
Wait, isn't he on Holliston, right? Is that the same person?
I think so. Well, I haven't watched Holliston yet, but I think
Oh.
I've seen he was on there. Because I was looking at like some of the people who popped up in it or whatever, and I think I've seen his name on there on that list.
Great
so.
character, yeah. He's
Yeah,
like,
D. Snyder is he's a huge horror fan. What's up?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm just saying I really like him in Holliston. He's funny.
He has a horror movie. He has a horror movie like radio show on like Sirius XM or something. He does like he used to. I don't know if he's still on, but he had a horror show. Like he's hardcore into horror.
Yeah.
But Strangeland's good. Should definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. It's not great. It's very 90s. Very dated. It's like internet horror, you know, with dated internet.
Oh yeah.
With like AOL chat groups.
Oh man.
So scary. Ah,
Oh yeah. It does.
dial up.
It does remind me of Brain Scan just because the killer looks so similar. Has anybody seen Nobody Lives? Sure, I have. Luke Evans, baby. Bard the Bowman. Yeah, that's a great film. That's actually a WWE movie, weirdly. Yeah, they did the fucking See No Evil movie. They did part 2. They did some alright ones. The Day. Whatever. But yeah.
Did they do Leprechaun Origins too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they did. Because that's where Hornswoggle came
Hornswoggle, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Leprechaun Returns rules, man.
Mm-hmm.
That movie's awesome. So Steven Kastansky directed that.
Yeah, the guy who did Psycho Gorman. So I'm really excited to check Leprechaun Returns out now because that's the last one I haven't seen that one yet. But after watching Psycho Gorman, I was like, all right, I gotta check that one out now.
You gotta watch Father's Day and you gotta watch The Void.
Yep, I say, yep. I've got The Void's on there as well. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, but that's my first video I'll be making. All the WWE movies? That's cool. Oh yeah, Oculus did do one.
Yeah,
that's
Oculus.
Right. That's crazy. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, they pass on the demon to Katie and Mika. Now, what happens here? Does Daniel go over to their house and put that in their attic?
No, I feel like demon magic puts it in the attic.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it appears there somehow.
It's just there, yeah.
I don't think he actually like crawls in and.
Yeah, no, that seems like a lot of work. I don't think he'd do all that.
Why bring it to her attention to try to jog her memory?
Say like, hey, it's almost time, kind of thing.
Because she says in part 1, this photo shouldn't even exist.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So in part 2, it's just in one of their random photo albums. Now, did Toby put it in that photo album or did Grandma Lois? When did Grandma Lois die? We know that Katie
I,
inherits the VHS tapes from her, but does she inherit them from her like very recently?
Do they?
I don't think they say, but I sort of felt like it hadn't been that recent. I don't know why I thought that though.
Yeah.
It just sounded like she had them for a while.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know why the photo exists if it shouldn't exist, and
Because of reasons, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because of reasons.
Because of
just
reasons.
reasons.
Yeah. I think that goes further to the point of that their memories were altered. That they think something shouldn't exist, and then they find out it does exist, and they're like, this goes against my memories. And then you go, yeah, because your memories were fucking altered.
Yeah.
That makes
And
sense.
I love that picture is recreated in part 3.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
That we actually get to see it taken, and the casting on the little girl who
my
plays
god, yeah.
Katie that looks exactly like that picture.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. So I don't know. I would love to take a close up and find out who the little, stand-in is for Oren Peli's first film when they show that for the first time. The photo that he's burning looks more burnt than the one that she finds in the attic.
Yeah,
It starts burning a little too far in, and I'm like, it doesn't match up.
Again, that's just one of those things you got to overlook. It's like whatever.
And it's very odd
No
to me
big deal.
that he only burns all like just the edges of it, and
Of
then
course.
what puts it out?
Yeah, I changed my mind.
Yeah, I did.
Hot, hot, hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have an answer for why, but he puts it into the picture, and then I guess the image of her has to remain for it to pass on to her.
I think so.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I'm grasping. I'm grasping here. I got nothing. So yeah, then they're both killed and Hunter is taken. And that leads us into part 3, but okay, before we lead into part 3, because there's way too many becauses there. Now I'm thinking of the Wizard of Oz. That leads me into where the fuck Hunter went.
Yeah.
And how he became Wyatt.
That
Who the fuck is Robbie?
Right.
Who is Robbie?
That's a great
that
question.
little creepy kid. So that would be
fucking
if they
weirdo.
don't do the 1960s for the next movie. I think the next one should be about how she loses Hunter. Like what happens in between.
It's gonna say there's definitely
2
a lot.
and 4.
There's definitely a lot of gaps that still need to be filled out.
So okay, couple things. I have a couple ideas. Number 1, there is a movie. I told you guys we were going to talk about these things. There is a movie called Paranormal Activity 2, Tokyo Night. A Japanese company bought the rights to do a sequel to the American film, and they did. I've seen it. It's not very good. It's very, very boring. Like almost nothing happens in the film. But there is some information that we get from that film that if you want to insert into this, you could, and it would actually maybe answer some questions. So what happens is there is a young girl, and she is visiting San Diego, which is a whale's
vagina.
Yes, of course. And she gets in a car accident, and it is revealed later that she hits and kills a girl who later is revealed to be Katie. So, and then she brings the entity home with her because she killed Katie, and the entity follows her home to Tokyo. So the way that maybe this could work, because this takes place around the same time as the first movie.
Okay.
Katie runs away with Hunter, and while she's on the run with Hunter, she is hit by a car. And she is, killed, but because she's got a fucking demon in her,
right,
she's able to survive this. And when Hunter's found, she's in San Diego, and this is the town in which Katie's from. Now Hunter is not from San Diego. He's from where? Fucking
somewhere in California, right?
Yeah, it's real close.
But yeah, I don't remember the exact.
I know the grandma lives in Moon Park.
Yeah.
Santa Rosa?
That sounds right.
I think that might be it. Whatever it is, it's not too far from San Diego. But let's say a couple years pass, maybe. And then Katie's hit by a car. Maybe it's that same night. I don't know how Hunter isn't returned, but I don't know. Maybe he's put into his parents are dead, right? So he's put into adoption agency. That would make sense, right? His parents are dead.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't seem like Allie seems to know what happened to him when she comes and talks to them in part 5. So I don't know if that would fully make sense, but this franchise doesn't fully make sense. But if you want to fudge it to where this girl from Japan comes over and hits her with a car, this is how she loses Hunter, and he eventually becomes Wyatt. And then she goes. Now, here's another thing. If that works for you guys, maybe. There's something else that could be an interesting idea. Because there's the use of time travel.
Yeah.
I'm almost to believe that Hunter or Robbie is the ponytail leader as a kid.
Ooh,
if Robbie was him, that would work really well. That'd be
yeah.
He feels more like Robbie.
Yeah.
Because,
absolutely.
Because he dresses like an old man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In part 4, he literally is wearing like fucking socks with sandals like a hippie dude would.
And he's got that magic fork.
His fork
that tells the future.
Right. And he says, this has been my family a long time. I mean, what kind of kid's going to talk about that kind of shit?
Right.
If he's not, I mean, maybe he fucking literally like, I don't know. Maybe that is that guy. And he was able to like go back and grab himself and teach himself. I don't know, possess him in some way or something.
So yeah, I don't think time is very linear in this franchise at all. But
no.
So I could definitely see that being possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I don't know. I was thinking about that when I was thinking about those questions, and I was like, wow, I wonder who this guy is. And then I started thinking about Robbie and like, who the fuck is this guy? And I'm like,
right.
What if they're the same person? That would be cool, right? Yeah, I'd love that, man. If they did part 7 and it was like Robbie's origins.
Robbie's origins. Cool. Robbie's such a little weirdo.
Especially if that was something he didn't know until like the end, when it's all revealed at the end. Like, oh shit, that's
He's like, I'm gonna have a ponytail.
Oh shit!
Hell yeah, I'm rocking that ponytail, aren't I?
So then we going back into the past, we meet Dennis and Julie and Randy, and then Katie and Christy. I forgot about that babysitter. She might be the hottest girl in the franchise.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Easy A.
Yeah.
That's right.
Reflection.
Melanie Bostic.
Yeah.
That's
right. She's an attractive lady. But yeah, so then this is the film that really blew me away. In the franchise, I was really like, because the first one I really liked, the second one I was really impressed by, and then the third one I was like, fuck, man, they're just getting better. This is amazing.
Yeah, when I was watching it, getting ready for this, I was like, now why the fuck was this blocked from my memory? I have no idea.
So
I was like, this is fantastic.
Yeah. Especially Dennis's fucking like oscillating camera.
The fan camera. Yeah.
I love it though.
It's really good.
Love that.
Yeah, it was cool.
Now, fans of the Catfish franchise will know that the directors of this were the guys who made the film Catfish, which then, of course, became the TV series on MTV that we all now know of. And they also directed part 4 as well. So the same guys who did 3 did 4. But yeah, they were given this since they kind of made a real found footage film. They then came on and did this. And this one definitely has some of the better characters. Dennis, of course.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Abby got overlooked What you doing, Abby?
Abby.
Good little Abby. Abby lives.
Abby's
Abby's
the
okay.
best.
Abby's okay. There's no animal deaths, only animal like injuries,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, like in 5.
I say in the marked ones when they
Oh,
had the
that
chihuahua up on the.
I hate
yeah.
that.
I know,
Yeah.
So
I don't like
brutal.
that part.
That was a tough little scene to watch right there. It's like,
Put him
aw.
down.
Put him
Yeah.
down.
Put him down.
Down, asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so yeah, I mean, then this introduces us to the past, and we're back in 1988, and they do a great job of recreating and replicating the 80s.
Yeah.
And also with the way that Christy and Katie look, not only does it match the picture, but it also looks very similar to how Christy and Katie look older. I mean, they did a very, very good job of casting these little kids, and the acting from both of them is excellent.
Really
I was
good.
going to say the performances on both of them were great as well. So
Yeah.
it's one thing to look the part, but can you act the part is
Yeah.
a whole other question. And I think they pulled it off.
And they had to find those kids very quickly.
I say it was like Saw. They got them out like one a year.
Every
So,
year,
yeah.
Yeah. So fuck, man, what a find in both those little kids.
Mhm.
And they continue into the rest of the franchise as well. They show up
Yep.
in part 5 and part 6
Yep.
and play, of course in 5 they're only in it for like a second.
Right.
But they're there. And then in part 6 they have a pretty substantial role, and they play obviously a very pivotal story role. So that's cool that they retain throughout. And no one gets marked in this one. No one becomes possessed. Grandma Lois is the evil one here. And she has her coven by this point. Now, what does the coven want? Like because Lois makes the deal, right? She gets the riches, and then he's going to give her the money, which we know, and she's going to give him the kid, right? But what are all the other midwives getting out of this? What's the point of her having a coven? I mean, they kind of address this a little bit, that they're building an army, but what for?
Right, and they never said, because they even asked, they're like, looks like I think they're building an army for what?
End times, right?
And then it's never, I don't know.
Toby is essentially the devil. It's the Antichrist, and they're assembling the army to worship the devil. It's a devil's army, right? I mean, that's
right.
I guess we just fill in that blank for ourselves. But yeah, I mean, I think all the setups in this are fantastic. I think maybe the best like setup scare in the entire franchise maybe is in this one, with all the shit in the kitchen missing and then falling from the ceiling.
Yeah, that was nuts.
That's so good.
Yeah, I mean, how they shot that scene, obviously they did it with editing, but fuck, it's seamless.
Yeah.
This movie has my favorite death, which is Dennis at the end.
Oh yeah, poor Dennis. I felt so bad.
It's so hard to watch, but it's really good.
It's hard. Most girls just like that.
Most girls want to see Dennis break them in half.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This way. Yeah.
I was actually watching. I was watching a couple like Paranormal Activity explained videos earlier, just kind of trying to prep for this and see like what other people were saying. I watched the Found Flicks, or whatever the fuck that guy's channel is.
The guy who like explains like timelines and stuff like that.
Yes.
I've seen a couple of his videos.
I watched that, and he referred to him as Mika the whole time, and it was pissing me off.
Mika.
And then he also referred to Dennis as Katie and Christy's father. And I was like,
no, he's not. Yeah.
Bro, you're killing me here.
Yeah.
Technically the stepdad. They're just dating.
Yeah, they're dating, exactly.
Yep.
He says, like, I have only known you for a couple months, but you've let me into your home and I love you. And God, Dennis, he's so great. He's so great with the kids. They love him. He loves them.
Cute.
Yeah.
It's like Julie was saying, they think he's like the coolest guy ever. She has that line talking to her, to Lois and stuff like that. So,
and you can see how greedy Lois is, because she's like, he doesn't have any money.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
kids miss their father or something like that.
Mm.
Mhm.
Right. So now the father is just gone from the picture. He's not dead.
Right.
I guess ponytail guy could be their dad.
Robbie?
Maybe? Robbie? What if Robbie's their dad?
Robbie's their dad?
That'd be a twist.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, is it
That'd be an
possible that
interesting direction to go.
no. It's possible the ponytail dude is the dad. I mean, I
Ew.
guess
Maybe. That's gross,
Because-
but maybe.
because in the alternate ending of part 3, they is it part 3? Wait, or is it part? Wait. Yeah, it's part 3. There's an alternate ending where no, wait, this is part 6. Part 6. It's at the end of part 6. It's the ponytail guy, and he's at the birthday party at the end
Yeah.
for Leela. I was thinking it was Katie and Chrissy's birthday party because it looks so fucking similar, and I'm like, wait,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, no, okay, yeah, it's part 6.
Yeah.
There's an alternate ending where he's at their birthday party, and he's there, and they're all a big happy family. You know, they actually get rid of Toby, and they actually perform that ritual, and it works, and then they go and they like celebrate, but then the ponytail guy shows up, and I guess he's there to start it all over again or something.
Mhm.
But in this one, yeah, so I don't know. I mean, what's the goal here? Is Toby is there to talk to Christy, and they're trying to get them to the house so that they can kill the
Oh my god.
Damn.
I didn't know what the fuck that was because I started seeing it on both parts of the camera.
It's Toby.
That's my own. Yeah.
Toby's here.
He's like, I heard my name. What?
Yeah, right? But it was fucking crazy. The way it looked on my screen was nuts. But oh yeah, okay, yeah, I could buy this. Dad bailed after he found out about the cult.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe grandma had him killed. Maybe they think that he just ran away.
Oh.
Grandma Lois had him killed because he didn't want to have another baby.
I could definitely see that one too, because Lois is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Because Lois has a conversation with Julie, and she's like, "You want to have another kid?" Like, and she's like, "I don't want to have another kid." And
You
then
always
she's
wanted a
like,
son.
"Guess
Yeah.
you got to die."
Pretty much.
No.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Guess we gotta die.
Because I wasn't 100% if Julie survived or not, because she just is kind of. It's shown that she's hanging there, and then she's thrown down the stairs.
Right.
And I'm like, then they talk about how their mom is scared all the time and this and that. But then in part 6, they say that Lois is their mother. I don't know why they think a 70-year-old woman is
I
their
don't
fucking
see
mother.
Lois being scared of much. So.
No,
No.
but it made me wonder up until 6 was released if Julie actually survived that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and maybe she, you know, maybe after her injuries, she started talking only in that voice that she does.
Oh yeah.
What voice,
No,
Dennis?
it's yeah.
This voice. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought for a minute maybe she lived, and maybe she was just like, you know, in the corner the whole time, shaking and like just fucking, you know, part of the cult and doesn't want to really be there, and that's what they remember of their mother. And then Christy stopped talking because of it for years. I don't know. I'm just trying to fill in the blanks here, but maybe it could work. I also think another noteworthy thing from part 2, skipping right back to it, is that Allie thinks that the paranormal activity that's happening in the movie is her dead mother, which I thought was really sad.
Mm-hmm.
And actually gives a lot to her character and why she's not freaking out more because she's like, why does it have to be bad? You know, why can't it be mom? And that's, I don't know, that's sweet and sad. But I mean, the mother, they know that Christy is going to have a kid and it's going to be Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Did they kill the dad or the mom to make way for Daniel and them to meet?
Oh my gosh.
Ooh. I mean, they
They're
seem to
just
be having their.
orchestrating all kinds of things.
I say they seem to be having their hand in a lot of what's supposed to happen, right? The prophecy, if you will. So I mean, I could see that happening too.
Maybe Robbie killed her.
Maybe it was Robbie, old man ponytailed Robbie.
Maybe it was Robbie. Yeah.
Robbie's just jumping through time doors everywhere,
Exactly.
killing people.
Oh my gosh.
Which all this kind of reminds me of Hereditary, because it's kind of like
Yeah.
the same thing. You have like a
Mhm.
grandma who's involved in like a cult. They're all orchestrating this big elaborate thing in the end.
Yeah.
Ari Aster's a ripoff artist, that prick.
Yeah, bad movie.
He just watched fucking Paranormal Activity 1 through 6 and was like, I got an idea.
Huh.
And fucking Charlie looks like Robbie, kind of. I mean, both weird ass looking fucking kids.
Yeah.
Maybe Robbie is Charlie.
Oh my god.
Oh, crossover.
Crossover
coming.
movie. Crossover movie. All right.
Hereditary activity.
Hereditary activity.
But yeah, so then okay, obviously that happens. Dennis is killed, and no one becomes possessed, but then wait, someone does. Isn't Katie possessed for a second? And she like jumps at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Katie
Yeah.
is possessed by Toby when she's a kid. Huh. Okay. So she was once.
Great.
Yes, you do.
Yes,
Come
you
on.
do.
Get on it, Chad.
Jesus Christ now.
Well, Chris, to be fair, when did you watch it?
Recently, but I watched it, didn't I?
Come on, man.
I got to it, didn't I?
Finally. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we all know who hasn't watched it, but he's never watched anything, so that's no surprise.
Low blow.
Shout out to Matt.
Shout out to Matt.
So then, all right. Let's jump up to part 4, and we're in with Alex
Yes.
and this family, and then we find out that Wyatt is actually Hunter. We've kind of already discussed like how that possibly happened, but what other thoughts did you have on how that could possibly be Hunter, and how she lost him, and what went through your head when you're like, who the fuck is this kid and what is happening now? Because Chris was texting me during part 4.
I was
and he's like, man, Hunter is really weird this time around. And I'm like,
let me see if I can find it real quick. It's not that far up.
I'll be right back. You talk among each other.
Oh man, where is it? That was okay. That was okay. I said Robbie, aka Hunter, is a fucking weirdo, and he just said ... I'm like, what? He's a weird kid. He's like, you'll see. And then a little bit later, I was like, oh, that was a twist. So that was my reaction. But yeah, Robbie, I was like, oh, that's Hunter right there. And then
I thought the same thing.
yeah, like
yeah, definitely. Me too. I was like, yep, okay, there we go. I was like,
Yep, there's the weirdo. Yep.
They just threw that in to have some sort of
Yeah.
It's a twist.
yeah.
And it was a well pulled off twist because I didn't see that one coming. But then it also brings up question of who the fuck is Robbie then.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't think all that, I don't think it's worth the twist.
Right.
Like, yeah, it was cool.
You know what I mean?
It's a total misdirect.
It did
but
catch you off
really,
guard, but
you have way more questions in the end than oh, that was really cool. No, it's exactly how the fuck did Katie lose Hunter?
Mm-hmm.
She would not, except for unless that's what happened. Like, she wouldn't lose him.
Mm-hmm.
Just killed these people just to have him. Like, she would not let him go.
Yeah, I definitely think that this was like a John Carpenter writing Halloween 2 problem.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, I gotta have some kind of twist or some kind of thing. Well, I just watched Empire Strikes Back and they're related, so I guess you know.
I mean, maybe it was a studio thing too. Maybe somebody from the studio stepped in and was like, hey, you gotta write some kind of crazy twist in there. Throw the audience off guard or something like that. That could have been possible.
I'm 100% positive. I am convinced in my fucking soul that he went and saw Empire Strikes Back, and he was like, "Wow, this really tracks. You know, this is crazy. This is wild." Because he would have been writing Halloween 2 in 1980 when Empire Strikes Back came out.
Yeah.
And there's this big family reveal, and it's this big, oh my God. And I think he was kind of drinking one night because he says he wrote it while he was drunk.
Yeah.
And he was just like, they're fucking related.
I'll get their brother, sister.
Which is like, it creates such a fucking problem with the first one. It's like, oh, come on. She just happened to go up to his door, and what, he recognizes her? I mean, what the fuck is out of here? It makes no sense. It never has. It's so stupid. And this is another thing. It's like, let's have a twist. Let's let Rob, we'll think it's Robbie, but it's not. It's actually Wyatt. But that being said, why would anything be going on in that house if he wasn't Hunter? So, I mean, you have to have it in some way. What's going to be the next story? So where do you want it to go from here? What is part 4? How do you make it that Hunter and Katie are involved? I mean, they're the only ones really left at this point. Yeah. Katie's going to start filming Hunter? Like, of course, that's not going to fucking work. You got to come up with something. You know, you have to come up with something. And I think Christopher Landon was kind of tasked with this, like, well, I guess Hunter is living at another house and they're coming to get him back. It makes sense from a storyline perspective. It's just they don't do a very good job of explaining. But at the same time, it's fun to talk about. It's fun to be like, who the fuck is Robbie? I mean, we've made him Ponytail Guy now. So
yeah. And in my head, that's canon now. So that's
until otherwise said.
Exactly.
Canon.
By the franchise. That's headcanon for now.
Yeah.
We'll bookmark that for later. I'm actually looking up part 6 right now to see if Ponytail Guy has a name. Let's see. Kent.
I'm sure he's not credited as Ponytail Guy.
It would be amazing if he was.
Yes.
What if he was credited as Robbie?
Ooh, Robbie.
He is Kent.
Kent.
Yes, or cunt
Kent.
for short.
Yeah,
For short. Same amount of letters.
for short, right?
For short.
Yeah, so I don't know. Kent, I guess. Did they say his name in the film? I don't fucking remember it.
I don't think they.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But I guess he has a name that's short. Yeah, I guess Kent is short for Robbie. We know that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, part 4, I don't know. It doesn't add a whole lot to the lore. I still enjoy the film. I think there's some effective comedy and scenes. One of my very favorite lines in the entire fucking thing is when Robbie talks, how he says, what does he say to Alex? He's like, God, he says a joke to her.
Ben?
I'm sorry, not Robbie. Why do I keep saying Robbie? Ben.
It's like I've had sex 4 times, or
no, it's not that one.
Not that one.
I do love that one, but no, he says something to her and then he gives himself a high five. And I think it's so fucking funny when he does it.
Her password was like Big Ben or something like that.
Yeah.
Himself. It was something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I don't need a password for that, I think.
Right.
And
yeah.
he's like, yep, up here, and he gives himself a high five. I love that shit, man.
Yeah.
That's so me, because I'm always the one laughing the hardest at my own jokes.
Yep.
And then I'm like, good job, Jason. Good job. But yeah, I mean, so at the end of this movie, we do see the Coven of Witches, and we see the Coven of Witches at the end of the third one as well, which is really fucking effective and creepy.
Yeah, because you're not expecting that by that point, because they haven't really shown up until that point. So when you get to the end of 3 and they just show up like that, it's like, whoa, where did this come from?
He's like, oh, sorry, what the fuck? Yeah. And he runs out of there and they're chasing him.
And just the way they're lit and they're like all staring at him.
Yes.
It's so effective.
What the fuck were they doing in there?
I don't know, sacrificing goats or something? I don't know.
No, that's what Martine was doing.
Oh, that's what Martine was doing.
She was out in the lawn sacrificing goats. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they were doing there. And then the Coven comes for Alex, and there's like all of a sudden 400 women in her backyard coming at them. I guess those are all of Toby's midwives at this point. I mean, he's got you got this whole army of women at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I was thinking about, because if you talk about part 6 with this, Toby already exists and is alive by the events of 2, 1, 4. He already exists well before this.
Yeah.
So now what does that mean? And where is he? And why isn't, like, what's the plan? And the question I guess I have is this an alternate timeline thing, kind of like, you know, the Avengers movies? Or is this a Toby actually exists in human form in this timeline? Or do they create an alternate timeline where Toby exists in that timeline and none of the events of these films take place in that altered timeline when he, you know, exists in 94?
Yes, that's the thing when you start getting into time travel, when you start mixing that up with it. It's so many questions. You're like, okay, what exactly is happening here? Like, did this happen? Did this not happen? Is this it's called the ghost dimension. So is this another dimension entirely, or is like what is it exactly that you're trying to go for? That's always tricky when you involve time travel with anything.
Yes, this is Catherine Newton from the movie Freaky, which if you guys, that's a very good slasher film that everyone should watch.
I love
fantastic, fantastic kills, and was written and directed by Christopher Landon, who wrote part 2 through 5 and directed part 5, and will be writing part 7. Which is very exciting.
I say, yeah, at least he's coming back for it.
Yeah,
I'm happy
that's what has me the most excited, is that he's writing part 7, and the guy who directed the movie Underwater is directing part 7, and Underwater rules. So definitely very, very strong potential there. And I have to believe that if he's coming back for part 7, he's going to continue what he wrote in part, 2 through 5. I cannot imagine that he's going to just outright ignore everything.
Yeah, I can't see that happening either.
Yeah. What would you guys want part 7 to be? I know, Kaylee already kind of gave her thoughts on what 7 would be good for, and I kind of agree with her, but I'll try to come up with another one because she said that before me. What would you want? Would you want a sequel in the future? Would you want to see Toby in the flesh, like haunting? Like, what do you want? What are you thinking?
Just knocking on the door like Kane from Poltergeist 2, like, you're all gonna die, something like that.
Is Tamra home?
Is Tamra home? There you
go. Is Toby home?
Is Toby home?
The Strangers 3 is Toby home. Crossover. I guess Destiny owns the rights to the Strangers. We're not even allowed to talk about it without her permission.
We're not allowed to talk about them because it's my crutch, and so we can't. Let's not even bring up the Strangers.
True. It is your crutch.
Even though I haven't even talked about the first one at all.
I was just gonna say the Strangers are part of the cult. There you go. There's their explanation there too.
Come on, guys. Chris, Destiny, what do you want to see in the 7th one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Trying to think where would be a good point to pick up in the timeline that probably has the biggest gap of answers that I need the most. And for me, I think that's probably somewhere between 2 and 4. How she lost Hunter. Something in that gap, in that time gap right there. That would be really interesting to me. As we were talking about earlier, doing it in the 60s would be really interesting as well. So I'm all for that idea as well. But yeah, I don't know.
I think it'd also be kind of cool to see where Hunter is now.
Ooh, yeah.
With everything.
That'd be a good spot.
Adult Hunter.
Yeah. See if he has see what's going on. See, like, I don't know. If he's still like involved, I'm sure he would be.
Yeah, maybe I think it's kind of
leading it, and to see how that would be. I don't know. That would be cool. It's kind of crazy to think about another one coming out.
I know, right?
Because I was like, I don't really know where else you could take it, but I would like to see where Hunter is grown up.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're going to continue with this specific franchise, in the story that we have, I don't feel like they're left with too many options.
Yeah.
I think Landon is a creative guy. I quite enjoy all of his films. I really like the Happy Death Day movies. I really like Freaky. I really like these Paranormal Activity movies. I've really enjoyed everything he's written. So I definitely, trust what he's going to do. But I do think that I don't think it's going to be the 60s one.
I don't think so.
As cool as I think that would be, I think that would be too deep of a cut.
Yeah.
How do you bring back Katie and get people back in the audience in a way that they're going to, I mean, do you bring Katie into the trailer? Do you I'm really curious on where.
Say, I hope she comes back that they don't put her in the trailer. I want that to be like a surprise.
A surprise.
When you go see the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Katie's here.
Yeah.
I don't want them to give that away in the trailer.
I agree.
I don't know how this is going to happen, but I guess you guys could get close enough on. I mean, you are on the same level.
Maybe if you reach
Other way?
out.
Yeah.
Maybe if you could reach out. There you go.
I can't.
Close enough?
It was so close.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I don't have a long enough neck.
Me
Close
either.
enough.
Short neck girls. Sorry.
Yay.
3 horns don't hang out with long necks. Is anybody in the comments, please? Anybody who's my age know what movie that's from?
Yeah, sorry. Right over my head.
That's all right.
No clue.
I'm waiting. I'm looking at the comments like, come on, everybody. Long necks don't hang out with 3 horns. Come on. Anyway. All right. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with the fucking army. I mean, I guess with part 7, you could explore the effects of like the witches and Toby have kind of taken over.
Yeah.
And you could have it like
the world.
Post-apocalyptic in a way.
Oh my god.
That would be intense.
That's super intense. I don't know.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
There we go.
All
That's
right.
right.
I've even watched that.
I say I've seen that.
I have too, but I did not know that.
I haven't seen that since I was like little, so I didn't
Yeah,
remember
seriously.
any lines from that at all.
Littlefoot
Wow.
tries to play with Sarah, and she's
That
like,
makes
3
sense.
horns don't play with long necks.
All right.
You smell me?
Rest in peace.
I love
know,
that.
right?
Oh God, yeah.
Such a tragedy, man.
I'll actually cry.
That's sad. Yeah, the little girl who did the voice for Ducky died
Yeah.
very, very young in a very tragic way. Don't look it up. Don't depress yourself.
No, seriously.
But yeah, okay. So imagine being the person who took over because they made 14 of those movies.
I know, right?
I mean, imagine being the person to take over for a dead kid. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And yeah, so in part 6, they are gifted the power of sight. But then they're taught to forget it all. So I don't know. I don't really understand why they're teaching them all this. Then I guess because they're going to come back later, but Christy doesn't. So he's just used to see the brothers in the future. But we're jumping ahead to 6. Part 5. Okay, so getting into the marked ones, which is my favorite of the franchise. We are introduced to other kids that are part of this, and they're not sought after until they're 18. But they've been being marked by Anna at birth. Now we know that Oscar was adopted, but Jesse doesn't seem to be adopted, but his mother does not seem to be around. Is she part of this coven? We do see a picture of her down in the basement, and she's with Lois and Anna. So she has some involvement with them. Was she giving away her firstborn son? They're in the ghetto, so she didn't get riches out of this shit.
Yeah, no.
She's not like Lois, who has a ranch with fucking cages. for people to be locked up in. And who the fuck are those people locked up in those cages?
I don't know.
Future wives for Toby?
I got nothing on that one.
Sacrificial women, people.
Virgins.
Yeah.
Virgins.
There you go.
'Cause
Virgins.
They,
There you go.
Like, sacrifice. Yeah, at the end of 4. I guess
Okay.
that's why she was there, because she was a virgin. So
Yeah, okay.
maybe.
I can buy into that. Yeah.
I also keep my virgins in cages.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
I
in
mean,
case.
if you don't, what are you doing with your life? You know?
Exactly.
Speaking of virgins, we've got one in the chat. So this guy
Take
is
your
just
clothes
going,
off.
man. So there we
I
go.
promise you, if
You're
you
gonna
go
end
to,
up in a cage.
Pornhub, you'll find
You're gonna
bigger
end up in a
tits.
cage.
So I'm gonna show you.
Pornhub.com.
Yeah.
There you go.
Instead of asking strangers on the stream.
I mean, you're already online. It's not going to take you long to get there. Just type it in
No,
the
it takes
search
like
bar
2
up there.
seconds.
Yeah.
Pornhub.
I'm pretty sure he knows its existence.
And it's free.
He's bored with Pornhub. He's coming over to live chats to get girls to take their tops off. Good luck.
Right. Like, just on the stream, immediately we all have to get off.
Wouldn't that be hilarious? Like that might. I mean,
I
maybe
just
it worked for him
actually
once.
did it. Yeah, I just like, okay.
All right, Chris.
Just take it.
All right, let's do it. Oh.
Oh yeah, I'll be like Dennis.
That's
Yeah.
porno music. Yeah.
You gotta have it.
So yeah. So we got some virgins in the group here. You're gonna get sacrificed to the midwives.
I
But yeah,
got
so
an extra cage back there for you.
what's
I
up?
should. I said I should have an extra cage back there for you.
Hop on in.
How many cages do you got?
I got a few that are still vacant. So
Yeah. All right, we're going hardcore here.
Cut
Wow.
out your tongue.
we just went right for it, didn't we?
Yeah.
All right, so that's fun. Cutting out your own tongue is fun.
Do that often.
Yeah.
So now, what is Jesse and Oscar and who the fuck else knows what's involvement and role in all of this?
What?
Because
I'm
Oscar
sorry.
comes and kills Anna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's a badass, man.
Yeah.
He's able to
Oh,
fucking
dude,
like
all
come
the
back.
parkour that he was doing when he was running out of there. Hell
He
yeah.
was possessed though.
He was a badass. Yeah.
Was
So
he
was
possessed
Jesse.
at that point? I mean, was he fully possessed? I mean, I definitely
I
think he was
think so.
affected.
I
Because
think
in
so.
the very beginning, when he goes past them, when they're going up to the apartment and he's like all weird and he's starting to look sickly, it's the same kind of thing that happens with Jesse. Like as the movie progresses, he gets more and more gross looking, not
Right.
gross, but tired and worn down. So I think by that point, I don't know. I thought he was possessed.
He also pulls a hair out of his.
I hate that
eye.
scene. That one,
No.
it's so
That scene
gnarly.
made me throw up the first time I watched this movie. Like, I had to pause the movie, ran to the bathroom, and threw up.
I just need a minute. Just need a minute.
It's so
Actually,
rough.
I have that scene queued up right now to play. So
All right, let's play the clip.
Roll the clip.
Roll
That'll get James Dobson hard.
There you go. There's
Yeah.
porn for the
Yeah,
Some people are into
Girls
it.
vomiting do anything for you, man?
1,000 Ways to Die.
It's like in Devil's
Post an
Rejects.
episode.
It's like in Devil's Rejects when Bill Moseley goes, "Does she
Yeah.
like it when you puke? Is that part of your deal?" Or what?
Oh my god.
But yeah, I don't really understand what their involvement is. I know that Oscar is like valedictorian. He's talking at their high school graduation. He's,
Yeah, he seemed
you know,
like a good
brilliant.
kid. Right,
He's a good kid, yeah. And at that time, he's not showing any signs
right. He
of
seems-
anything. But it's on their 18th birthday, as Allie points out. 666
Mhm.
makes 18. He's now an adult, and he can start becoming possessed. But this is interesting because Jesse is not allowed to get hurt.
Mm.
The entity, whether it's Toby or some other entity, I don't know. I don't think Toby's the only demon in this franchise.
I don't
think
feel like
Toby's-
the majority of this movie wasn't Toby. I feel like this was something else, somebody else.
Was it Toby Holmes? Are you Toby Holmes?
Toby, I love that show.
So,
Hey, Sherlock Holmes, you Sherlock Holmes.
My favorite fucking line
I
in the
fucking
entire
loved it.
franchise.
Toby has a lot of wives. It's possible that he has a lot of demon children that are
Right.
also possessing people
Yeah.
in addition to himself.
Yeah.
So Oscar is able to kind of reject his possession, fight back, kill Anna, but then he still comes back and lives in her house hiding. But here's okay. The question is Jesse gets marked, then he is impervious to being hurt, and he has supernatural powers, which I would assume they are potential vessels for Toby if Hunter doesn't work out.
Possible.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. But he does get supernatural strength. He knocks those gangster dudes across the fucking park. He falls back and gets caught. So because he cannot be injured, he can't be hurt. He's being protected. His body is sacred and therefore needs to be protected at all costs. But he lets fucking Oscar jump to his death.
Maybe
When
he's like,
he went
oh,
to go jump, wouldn't he have stopped him from jumping? You know what I mean?
Maybe that was the learning curve. He's like, oh shit, they have a way out.
I
Guess
should have let that one kid die that one time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's Oscar just has more willpower than Jesse does, and he's fighting back against it. He can't control him, so he,
Well,
and who knows? Maybe actually,
so
how do we even know Oscar killed himself?
Ooh.
Maybe the demon fucking picked him up and threw his ass.
We don't see it. We
do
just see
not
that.
That's true.
So.
If
It's possible he just discards him. He's like, you killed my fucking main recruiter. You're dead.
Yeah.
It's also, if we go with like that he was killing himself, that Oscar did it, maybe it was because he was more like afraid and aware of what was happening, because like Jesse sort of takes it as not a joke, but he's like, like excited about his superpowers, and he's like, this is so cool. Yeah. Which is like, are you sure it's that cool? So
right.
Yeah, they take that way too well. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Now, Hector is basically mentally handicapped. So I don't really blame him. And when he, like, the dude fucking, does a laundry basket down the stairs and falls back without any, I mean, this guy's a moron.
Put the camera up here. Let's see it. Come on.
I like when he asks him, like, why he's not going to eat it, like one of those spicy tacos. He's like, I'm not the dumb one. Fucking poor actor, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him too, and it's so sad when he's being attacked at the end, and I'm like, no, not Hector. I already had to watch Dennis die. I can't watch Hector die now.
I know, right?
Terrible.
They can't get attached because they are probably going to die.
Well, with Hector too, like when Jesse's like mean to him, and he's just like, I'm not your friend. Like all of that was really hard. He takes the camera and he starts filming him, and you just see how sad he is and scared.
Yeah, super sad.
Yeah,
super sad. Yeah, I love him. I love him out there doing his sign twirling.
Yes.
He's so cute.
He's in my, now that'll be my top three. We've got the fucking Crispin Glover dance. We've got the Jesse Walsh dance, and we got the Hector sign dance.
There you go.
He's in the Mount Rushmore of horror dances. We just need one more face up there. So then, let's see. So then, I mean, as soon as it starts showing signs that he is protected, the first way we see that is he knocks those guys across the fucking park, and he's like, what the hell just happened? And then he can't be, and then he has superhuman strength where he can blow up a fucking mattress. Like his lungs are so strong. I mean, he's possessed in a way, but this is a weird one because, Katie and Christy, when possessed, are demonic. Jesse is still himself completely. When he has superhuman strength. So this is very different.
Right.
You get a flash of him being demonic though when he's pulling the hairs out of his eyes.
Later.
Yeah.
That's later. That's a good amount later.
But maybe we haven't seen a man get possessed. It's only been the women.
True.
The women are
So,
weak.
well, just maybe there's a difference somehow for how they react to the demonic force.
Could be.
I mean, we saw Robbie.
Well,
I don't know. Is Rob?
Is
What is
Robbie
Robbie?
possessed?
Is
Rob, we don't know what
possessed, or
Robbie is. Robbie's an
Yeah,
outlier.
Robbie's just there.
He's just
Robbie's
Robbie's
interesting.
purpose is to grow a ponytail. That's his purpose.
Doesn't he kind of like almost vanish and then reappear like in that treehouse?
Mhm.
I mean, Robbie's really fucking. I don't know. He's questionable.
Motherfucker.
Uh oh. We got some Tobes in the house.
Tobes.
Tobes in the house. And then yeah, I mean, Jesse and his whole involvement with it starts very happy, and he thinks it's great, and they try to share it on YouTube, and then
Everyone's like,
everybody's so negative.
Thanks. Yes.
Yeah.
The part where he's like, "How can you look at these comments? They're so mean."
But I feel like Jesse's easily corruptible because I don't think at the point when he goes to that like gangster party and picks up on those chicks, that's mostly just his arrogance of like, oh, I have power now. I can fucking use it to get babes, and I can use it to kick guys' asses. There's nothing anybody can do. I definitely would have liked to see him beat the fuck out of a bunch of gangsters at that party. Like they tried to
thought that's what was going to happen.
I thought so too.
Because he walks by them in the beginning, and actually, it's Hector, right, that says something like, "These guys are criminals," and he's like, "What?" He's like, "Not you, man."
Yeah. Everyone but you.
Not you.
But yeah, so then I feel like he's corruptible because he kind of very quickly becomes bad. I mean, he starts as good, and then he goes and he tries to pick up on this chick, and then he comes back, and then he fucking like I guess it's like a slow deterioration, right? Like with Christy and them, it happens fast, maybe because they were possessed as children and they've kind of already had some you know
dosage.
What I mean? Yeah. So maybe that's what's happening there. And then because he's new to it, maybe because he's older too, right? I mean, but
that's what I thought too. I was like, maybe.
Oh well, no, I'm sorry. Christy's older. Maybe because he's younger, but no, because they already had it when they were kids. I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, he takes to it quick, and then he also, then he starts pulling the shit. What is that hair? What's that hair?
Cat hair.
The longest cat hair ever.
I don't know. It's nasty. It's nasty. It was hard to watch. I could not imagine doing that myself. I would
no
cut my eyes out.
It also just kind of reminds me of whatever the black shit is in Ghost Dimension. Because it like that nasty drippy stuff. It kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right. It's probably because he was baptized. They're Catholic. I like it.
Yeah.
I can dig on it. They seem to, I don't know. I mean, is the ritual that they do with Marisol have anything to do with why this comes into existence, or are they already fucked at that point? I feel like they are, and I don't feel like that.
I feel like they're already fucked. Yeah.
God, that scene though, when they put the Hitema cables down the fucking chute, the Hitema cables.
The Hitema cables.
Like HDMI, fool. It's so fucking funny. And then he sees the naked. She's oh, he's so fucking fine. The greatest day of my life.
Yeah, this is the funniest one out of all. This one definitely has
the
most in there.
It's so good. It's so hilarious, and it gets you really comfortable in the beginning, and puts like a couple little seeds of unease, and then it just.
It was a nice change of pace. Right?
The contrast between the humor and the horror, I think, is very, very nice.
A great change of pace. Finally, it's not like a upper class white suburban family.
5 movies and they're doing something different this time around. It's like, hey, let's switch it up a little bit. I like it.
Well, like I said in my review, I said that the Mexican community is very, very into horror. Like I almost every fucking like Mexican person I've been around loves horror. Like of all the groups, of all the fucking like, ethnicities and races that I've been around, Mexicans typically are the most into horror of any fucking race that I've ever been around.
Right.
So appealing to making a movie for them, that specific group of people, like, you know,
That was
kind
great.
of catering to them is very smart.
Mhm.
And a very, very good move on their behalf. And I like that it took it to to new people, and they explored new things. But then we got elements where we saw Katie and Chrissy as kids, and we get to meet Allie. And
Yeah.
why Hector needs to take her number, the number off the door to hide it from the gangster guy, makes no sense to me because he fucking filmed it. So all he has to do is check the footage.
But I did like seeing Allie again. That was nice seeing her pop.
Yeah.
Up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's she back?
That was cool. That was cool. She seemed to be studying it. She seemed to have some pretty damn good information by that point. She's the one that
very smart move on her part. It's like, okay, I gotta figure out what the fuck's going on here.
How do they get marked in utero? Doesn't she say that? Like Allie when she's talking to them about the babies, and she's like the chosen ones get marked in. How does that happen?
If you have a dick as big as mine, you can just you put something on the end of it, and then just
like a little stylus,
a little brand.
Mhm.
Oh, a brand.
Brand.
Right back to branding.
Yes.
Back to brand.
Although you'd be like closing her up as you went in with the brand hot. So I don't know.
My God.
Figure something out. I guess Ricardo can attest to the size of my penis. I don't know. Maybe that's not what he means, but
He was talking about something else, but we'll roll with it.
Dark Knight came in at the right moment. Yes,
Yes,
you
you
did.
did.
Yes, you did. There you go. So yeah, I mean, and then we of course move into the end of this movie, which has Hector going through the time door, and we finally get to find out what Katie was screaming about for Mika to come downstairs. Now, granted, this is another fudge that you just kind of have to accept, that the timing of how long Katie's downstairs versus how long it is before Mika makes his way down, before he throws the body back to the camera, it does not line up. There's too much time that passes between that scene and what happens in the first. I don't care. It's just one of those things you have to accept.
But I do understand that for the ending, the way you're going to end the film, you got to speed it up a little bit, you know? Maybe.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, but yeah, it's very, when she's at the top of the stairs, you're like, because when you, I know the house. I've seen
like as soon as I seen the house, I'm like, oh shit. Like I lost my mind. Just looking at the house, like before you even see the shot of Katie, I was like, oh, we're doing this.
We're back in the
It's
first.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool though that like Oren Peli probably, I mean, I would assume probably maybe still owned the house at that time, or maybe the people who own it now owned it. But whatever it was, they took that house and they redressed it to look exactly like the first fucking film for a 2-minute sequence. I mean, that would have taken so much time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Katie and Mika look exactly the same.
Yeah, like if I didn't know any better, I would have thought that this was shot when they were shooting.
They filmed it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's pretty impressive that they're able to, much like the Saw franchise, the visual continuity of the franchise is great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's like all there. Everything else though, the more you look into it, maybe not so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions we're not meant to ask for sure.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times they just set boundaries. Like in the second one, like you don't want to end up like mom, but then they're like, oh fuck, we're gonna kill the mom off and make the grandma mom.
It's just something to get the audience talking. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So now somebody asked like why why Mika's body would be left and Hector's body would be taken and cleaned up. Because they could have taken Mika's body, you know, through the time door. But I think an easy answer for that is that Hector's body would be from the future. So they need to get rid of him.
Right.
They need to take him because Jesse's who kills Hector, which is really kind of sad. He gets killed by his best friend. Pretty much everybody gets killed by someone they love in this, which is kind of fucked up. But who Jesse's possessed by at this point, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
But he still makes that face. I don't like the distorted like demon face. I've never been a fan of that. I don't like that. I think it's stupid looking. It is one thing in the franchise I wish they would not have done for the first film. It gives like the first one feels authentic. I mean, obviously it's not, but like it feels authentic until I see the demon face, and I'm like, was that needed?
Mm-hmm.
Seems a little much. What I would have liked and preferred instead, and I think would have been a better ending for it, would have been Katie stands in the doorway and then she looks up at the camera and she kind of turns her head and the camera just flies off into the wall as if she has the power to like manipulate things without touching them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would have liked that to show that she has the power to throw an object without touching it. She has like telekinesis or something. So I think that would have been cool and an effective way to kill the camera, as they always have to do in these movies,
Right.
Blair Witch or otherwise. Or even with Host, where there's Zoom session expires because they don't have the the upgraded version of it. Oh, that was pretty.
I thought that was so clever, by the way.
Yeah.
No, I was like, oh, that's cool.
Even though I think the call is like the movie's like 56 minutes or something, and I think one of those like calls only lasts 45 minutes. I think that's the allotted time.
Yeah.
So they fucked up. Yeah. So whatever. Anyway. So then into the sixth and the final movie, and we can wrap this up because we are 2 hours and 20 minutes in, and I'm sure it's like one in the. It's so late for some of you. I apologize, Destiny. Yeah, we're getting done. We're wrapping this up. All right, number 6. Some shit happens. The end. Good night, everybody. Sonic is calling.
There's a ghost and there's a dimension, and that's it. Cue credits.
Yeah, 2 credits. What do you guys think about seeing the sludge? What do you think of the look of the demon, and what do you think about seeing the demon and the idea of a camera that can capture the ghost dimension?
Visually it looked cool. It just wasn't something that I didn't need to see it. I would have preferred if we had not seen it, just like all the rest of the films. But for what they did with it visually, I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it takes away the scariness for sure, having it just be shown to you right off the bat. The one scene that I did like, though, was when Toby's standing over, what's her name? Layla's bed.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really creepy and cool, but the rest of the shots of him were just kind of a bit much. Just
I would have to agree. Yeah, because it takes away. I like the fact that you don't see it and you really don't know where anything's at until something else happens, and then especially the scene when I don't know their names. When the dad and his brother, when they're like running away from him, and they're like hiding and stuff, and then you see like Toby like look at them.
Yeah.
To me, that just looks kind of goofy. Like that's not scary. Like that just looks like they're playing a game or something.
Right.
I like the look of the droopy, nasty black stuff. I think that looks cool, but they showed it too much.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, that was the gimmick for the 3D and all that stuff. Right. And honestly, I mean, this would appeal to the people because there are a lot of people. I mean, we like the franchise, but this is a very split franchise in the horror community. It's a lot of people that are like, there's nothing that happens in these films. And I'm like, there's nothing that happens really. I don't see the argument there.
There's too much happening, if anything.
Yeah, in the 6th one. But that's the 6th one I feel like appeals to that group of people that says that they, that there's nothing ever happening. You don't see anything. But this is the result of seeing too much.
Yeah.
So this is why they don't show these things. Paranormal Activity is kind of old school horror. It's very like there's not a ton of jump scares. It's more focused on like slow builds. Yes, there's scary jumpy moments, of course, but it's kind of like that mixture of The Conjuring, where like there's a lot of like atmosphere, slow builds,
unsettling atmosphere.
And that's what this franchise does so well. And then the 6th one, they do try to ramp it up because it's the last movie. They got to throw everything at the screen. Why not? Fuck it, right?
Look what we can do. Look at all the cool shit we can do.
Now, while I don't think that it works all 100% because of what we said, I do still kind of like that it exists for a couple reasons. Number one being that example of why it doesn't work.
Mhm.
You know, being like, look, see, this is why this doesn't work. This is why the rest of the franchise does work in this regard. So I kind of like to have it as an example. And also just because it's cool to kind of see it and be like, oh, okay, so now I know what it is. And now I know what it looks like. Even though I don't need to know what it looks like, I still have the movie there to know what it looks like if I want to acknowledge what it looks like. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah,
so you kind of have it there as an option. And then you can go to the other ones and be like, no, this is how it should have been done. But you still kind of have that option there if you want to acknowledge it.
Right.
But then, yeah, this, I think the ghost dimension is, and this is where Christopher Landon departs and he no longer is writing. And they have, like, if you see the end credits, they had so many fucking writers. It was crazy.
Oh,
It was like
yeah.
I was like, how the fuck did it take 7 guys to write this movie?
Paranormal Activity 6, not fucking Terms of Endearment, right? You know?
It should have been called Paranormal Activity 6 Writers.
Paranormal Activity 6 writers.
There's 6 movies. There's got to be 6 writers. That's how this works.
The ghost writers.
Each one of you go watch one of the movies, and then we'll all come back and we'll all explain what we think should have happened in this one from our each one.
There you go. And then we'll just kind of put it all together.
And then we have a spare who has not seen any of them, and he can tell us how stupid all that sounds. And we're going to ignore him and do it all anyway. And his name is Robbie, of course.
God damn it, Rob.
He's got a ponytail.
Sandals and
He's got a ponytail.
but yeah. So yeah, I mean, so how this all plays in, because it's essentially they need a drip of Kaylee's blood and they need some of Robbie's blood. And they're going to then, I guess, take that and they're going to exist. And it has to be done in 94. I don't know. Why they need to go back in time.
This one's definitely the sloppiest of them.
Why Katie and Christy, like why Christy is being given this power of sight. Now it's effective, right?
Right.
Like when she's like, oh, there's brothers, and then you know, Leela comes into the room and she sneezes and they say bless you.
Bless you.
That's very creepy, right?
Super
It works.
creepy. Yeah.
Oh,
But
I
it
love
creates
that
some real questions.
I did too.
Yep.
I thought it
creates
was
questions.
really, really good.
But why is it there? Like, yes, it's an effective thing, but should it be there? That's the question you got to ask yourself when you're writing this. Yes, it might work as a scare, but does it work as a narrative choice? I don't see a reason for it. I don't know why they're given why is Christy being given the gift of sight? I guess in order to prophesize that Hunter's going to exist one day. And then why, I mean, and she's connecting with the little girl.
Yeah.
And why it is Leela and what connection they even have to that and why they have to specifically be on the burnt remains of the house from part 3. I don't know. I mean, it's a sacred ground, right? It's a sacred ground. I'm going to assume, okay, here we go. This is where Lois made the deal with Toby. So it's the birthplace of the deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it has to be in that house. He finds the shit in the backyard that makes it known that this is Katie and Christy's childhood home where they put their names in the fucking cement. But yeah, this is, I guess, but no, wait. So it's part 3. Yeah. Maybe the mom, after she got the money, she went off and she bought the nice big house. And then she gave Julie, her daughter, the house that she lives in. And then is like, look, I didn't have a male, because she only has Julie, right? She doesn't have any other siblings.
As far as I know, yeah.
So she tried to have boys. She stopped at 1. She didn't try very hard.
Right.
She's like, you're not taking my kid. I don't know. Maybe it's Pony. I don't know. It's the firstborn male, and Lois only had 1 kid for some reason. And then they prophesize that Hunter is going to exist, but then they can't prophesize that he's going to get taken into a new family. I don't know. It's very the introduction of the time travel and stuff. While cool, it definitely poses a very like okay. Sorry, spoilers for the Final Destination franchise, everybody. Spoilers. If you haven't seen them, sorry. But whatever. In Final Destination, they in the fifth one, it is revealed at the end of it that it is actually before the events of part 1. And it goes into part 1, and he gets on the plane with them, and whatever, which is awesome. That's fucking fantastic, right? So does the time travel thing need to exist, or could they have kept the timeline ambiguous and Hector shows up at Katie's house that night without time travel? Somehow he's led there, doesn't know. He wakes up and they're like, they knock him out, right? And they put him in the he wakes up in the garage and he's like, where the fuck am I? And then he walks out and then he's there. Does the time travel really need to be there? I mean, what purpose does it really serve?
Right. Yeah. I don't.
Not really any.
So I feel like the Hector thing could still remain, and that would be a really cool thing of like, well, that's what happened. Wow. Now, it would have been cool had... See, I think what would have been cool had somebody learned that this was happening. They were hunting down Katie and Christy to kill them because they were trying to stop this from happening. They come to kill Katie. She's downstairs. She's screaming out, Mika, help me, help me. Mika comes down, defends her, and then she kills Mika too. That could have been really cool. They could have had that be like the big reveal. That's what Katie was doing downstairs. She was struggling with someone who was trying to kill her to stop the fucking Armageddon. He finds out about Toby. He goes to kill the girls who have fucking involvement with Toby before Toby is reincarnated. That would make way more sense. The fucking the time travel door just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand the purpose of it, and it's used in the sixth one, but all it does for the sixth one is convolutes the fuck out of everything.
Yeah.
They just need to hire me. That's what they need to do. They just need to have me sit in the room with them and just be like, no.
The eighth writer?
The eighth.
I'll be the eighth writer of the franchise. Paranormal Activity 8. I'll be there as the eighth writer.
Jason's writing it.
This time, Jason's there. But yeah, I mean, these and then I forgot Skylar's in there too. She's a good-looking woman too. This whole fucking franchise is just there's so many good-looking people in this fucking franchise. But this one, I mean, I don't know, like. Yeah, it explore like we get to see the birth of Toby at the end of this, and he's just a person, which is interesting instead of a demon. He's not hooved like he is in part 1. He's reincarnated into a guy's body. What does that guy look like? We don't know. But yeah, I don't know. The sixth one and the fifth one really, really convolute the fuck out of everything. Yeah. People kind of point fingers at 4 as doing that. I say it's especially 6.
No, yeah, compared to what 6 does, 4 is nothing.
I can explain basically everything in 1 through 3. Like I can fudge things enough, but once you get into 6, I'm like,
6 is where it just gets all wonky, and like even 5 was pushing it a little bit, but I still feel like that they did a pretty good job overall for the most part. It's really like towards the end, and then going into the 6th one is where it starts getting really super messy.
A great idea for a prequel to the first would be showing the first movie from the perspective of Katie and Mika's neighbors. Maybe they could have been the ones who gave the Ouija board to Mika. Yeah, because he just borrowed it. And
he borrowed it. I said I
wouldn't buy one.
I hate that so much. That's so that's one of the shitty things, right? Is that he knows exactly what she means.
He knows what he's doing is wrong. Yeah.
Damn, Destiny's getting some serious love tonight.
From CNN?
CNN? Oh my god.
Oh my
I can't wait to tell my mom.
You can, Mom, CNN News would bang me. The entire fucking CNN newscast has come into the chat and said they would bang me. I'd love to have you guys on my show and vice versa. Well, thank you, Eggsy from Kingsman. I would. But yeah, so rankings and we're out.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
Give me a second. I gotta put mine together real quick.
I have mine ready.
Okay.
I came prepared.
Oh man. Well, I know which one's first and I know which one's last, but it's the in between. I gotta figure out. Okay. Do that one there.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked at the lineup of MSNBC lately, but is there better looking guys on CNN?
I got a clue.
Which
Yeah,
one
you let me
Anderson
know.
Cooper on? I don't know. He's got some
I feel like
pretty.
he's a CNN guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got some pretty eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys.
Now if fucking Arkin from The Collector
Oh,
was the host of CNN,
all day.
then Destiny would be down.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd be like anytime.
All right,
Not
so
the
Moose from The Fanatic has said that 152346 is his order, or her, but it's Moose. Anybody see Fanatic here with John Travolta? That also has Devon Sawa in it. Speaking of Final Destination,
That one, yeah. I forgot
Yeah.
about that movie. Yeah.
that's directed by fucking Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit. And then there's a scene in it where the guy listens to Limp Bizkit and then raves about how good Limp Bizkit is. And I was like, wow, Fred, way to be subtle.
Right.
What do we got? We got a ranking? Who's ready?
Whoever wants to go first.
Go, Destiny.
For
Try
sure.
not to be banged by CNN while you're reading the list.
Yeah. Thank you again. I'm honored, really. Okay, so starting in my 6th spot, I have Ghost. Oh, wait. Am I going to say them all now, or are we going to go?
Yeah, all of them.
Okay. 6th spot, I have Ghost Dimension. 5th, I have Part 4. 4th, I have Part 2. 3rd, I have the original. 2nd, the marked ones. And then 1st, Part 3.
Whoa. Very close to mine.
Okay.
Very close to mine. That's funny. Who wants to go next?
You want to go ahead?
I'll go next because Destiny's is very
There you
close to mine.
go.
Mine would be 6, 4, 2, 1, and then 3 and 5.
Okay.
It's the
I
only
think that's what it was.
alteration.
Yeah.
The marked ones is my favorite, but 3 is a close second. But yeah, Destiny and I are definitely very, very close on that.
Okay. So from worst to best, I got Ghost Dimension, then 4, then I'll go the first one, then I'll go the marked ones, and then Part 2, and then my number 1's Part 3, actually.
Sometimes.
You guys threw me off because I was thinking best to worst, and now I feel like I'm like confusing myself to try and do worst to best. But Ghost Dimension worst. Then I guess I'm gonna say 2.
Okay.
And then 4, 3, 1, and 5.
Alright.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay. I know you like 4.
I like
which is
4 a
cool.
lot.
I really like
I
4.
like 4 too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun.
Really,
And
the
I
one
just
I had.
love the characters.
It's
Mhm.
comforting.
Yeah.
There's something about
Yeah.
Which I really do love this franchise, and even though I don't really like Ghost Dimension, I can still watch it like any day.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Ghost.
still find some entertainment in it. It's just not really good, but I'll still watch it.
Yeah, Ghost Dimension is the one that I have the most problems with, but there's still a good amount of stuff in there that I do appreciate and I do like. So.
Worst to best 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5. Okay.
Alright.
So yeah, I mean, I think we can almost all agree that 6 is the worst. I haven't seen
Yeah.
anyone say otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely like the resurrection.
I could barely make it through the Go Let Alone additional installments. Ashley, go back to school. You know? OG.
OG. Okay. I gotcha.
Okay.
Oh, gee.
There you go.
Barely make it through the OG, let alone additional one. Okay.
I would
Ashley's an
say
asshole.
at least watch
Just so
Marked
everyone
Ones.
knows.
Yeah.
But
Marked Ones is fun.
yeah. She likes being the heel. That's all right. All right. Well, everybody, 2 hours and 40 minutes is plenty enough for this franchise.
Yeah, I think we covered it.
I think we covered it. So yeah.
Holy
Thank you.
shit.
Fuck, Destiny's out. That's it. I'm done.
She's like,
Goodbye.
What's going
on? I have to wake up at 5.
All right, everybody. Say
Let's
good night.
go. Come on.
She's like, wrap it up. Come on.
Yeah, Destiny's breaking out the fucking wrap it up music from the Oscars right now. I'm trying to give my acceptance speech. And
Speech
she's
is
like,
too long. Let's go.
Let's go. Come on. Well, thank you everyone for coming on. Chris is the only one with a channel, House of the Living Dead.
Okay, I'm a part of that channel.
She's co-owner on that.
Too.
Destiny is a regular on that channel. Are you an actual member of that channel?
Yes.
She's a co-owner.
Okay.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you said Chris from House of the Living Dead, Destiny and Kaylee. I was like,
Although she should be kickstarting her own anytime now.
we're trying to wrap this up.
Well, April 1st was supposed to be it, but I gave up.
I never said April 1st. I said April.
You said April. Okay, so you have till April 30th.
That's just only the 9th. She still got some time. I'll give her some
So
time.
Destiny, if you do not start a channel by April 30th, you will be gangbanged by the entirety of CNN
And Fox News.
And
Fox.
and
Jeez,
Fox News.
I'm definitely
All
not
the
sure.
news networks are going to get together.
We're all coming.
They're going to run a train, and you're going to be on the nightly news.
Okay, I really want it. Someone get Josh Stewart, please.
She's like, I just want prime time. Can I have prime time?
Yeah.
Welcome to prime time, bitch.
That's just
All
what
right,
they all say
everyone.
to me. I was like, I walk
Thank you
in.
to Kaylee. Thank you to Destiny. Thank you to Chris. Although I guess Kaylee will be owning half this channel soon enough.
Oh, there you go.
Adios.
See you later.